Good evening, everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of the 4020 radio show, 4020 Rugby League radio show. And I hope everything is right. And here is my co host for the evening, Mr. Anthony McKenna. Evening.
Good evening. How are we, sir?
I'm all right, mate. How have you been for these past 2 weeks?
Uh, I've been switching. I've been properly switching. Do you know what? I enjoyed 2 weeks ago. I enjoyed it that much. We should do it again. And here we are.
Yeah, I think
Here we are.
I think the nice reaction was everybody was so nice and everybody gave us some nice compliments. And the amount of views we had on the first show was great. And thanks to people that's joining us in our chat room at BritishBWRradio.com. If people think if you like us, then please stay with us. It's nice to everybody that's joining us.
Yeah, it was. Enjoyed it. It was greatly appreciated. The feedback's been really positive. People who I know who aren't really in touch or follow rugby league really said that we were a pretty easy listening style, which was good. They got the grasp of what we were saying. We explained some of the more technical stuff.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it, when you're starting something brand new, and this is literally brand new. This is only number 2 for us. The reason we didn't do it last week is because I work during all these different shifts, and once a month there's no chance I can do it because I'm working till 11 o'clock at night. But it had to be the one. We had to be the week when we started. Not the greatest planning on my part, but you kind of perfect. Well,
you're gonna have to do an Unleashed Out podcast.
yeah.
The week off, we'll do an Unleashed Out podcast.
Yeah, podcasts are easy. You can do them whenever you want, and then you edit them, and you say, "Oh yeah, this has happened and this happened," and you can do that. But doing a live show is completely different. If you want to get involved with us tonight, guys, it is. If you want to get involved, messages on Skype. Come in contact with us on Skype at dino.mitchell or ring in 01223 926867. Tell us about what's happening in your world of rugby league at this time, whether it be the amateur game, the professional, the Magic Weekend at Manchester. Was it good for the game? I saw loads of empty seats, which isn't good for me because I want to see packed stadiums all the time. And what's your opinion on rugby league at this moment? That's the thing. It's open phone line. This is it. This is your show. It's by fans for the fans. That's what we always say. Ant's a St Helens fan. I'm a Sheffield Eagles, and we also have his own amateur teams. Your amateur team, Ant, is.
It's Burtonwood Bridge. I have some bad news from our Warrington Alliance Cup quarter final this week. They got beaten 18-16. It was a bit of a heartbreak for my boys. I've got to thank Lee and Deano Cunningham for sending me. They forwarded me match reports to me emails, which is really appreciated. To talk of the academy to the amateur standard as we know it. Right, Burtonwood's man of the match was given to Jacob Ullman, who is actually a former Wigan Warriors Academy prop forward. You've got lads in there, Nathan Fernyhow, if I pronounce you right, apologies if I haven't, Widnes Vikings Academy hooker. We're looking at that standard, and that's the amateur game. From our lads, Robbie Batty went over the line twice. Ricky St Pierre, who's the club captain, went over as well. Jos Blackburn Woods put 2 of his 3 kicks over, which unfortunately the third kick was the difference. Woolston Rovers are a level up from them. From what the match report says, the first half the display was brilliant. They were 12-4 up at half time, but the second half, it came into play. So they dropped the ball too much. There was a few cheap penalties, and as everyone knows in rugby league, if you're dropping the ball, if you're knocking on, if you're giving away penalties, you get the pressure on yourself. It's set after set after set you're defending, and eventually, the pressure told. I said, it's one of those. From what I can gather, I know I ribbed the guys last week over the kicking and whatever, but they've given it their all. They got to a cup quarter final. Gutted for the lads, but it's onwards and upwards for my boys. What about for yours?
Well, St Ives Roosters, they had their first match in the Eastern Division last week against Southend Spartans and smacked them 80 points to 20.
Fantastic.
That was a great. But Southend Spartans, when you get into that league, you literally get new teams in every season. So Southend Spartans, it's their first season, I think, apparently, and it was a week, and apparently they came into the match and thinking, oh, we've got a good standard, we've had a good pre-season, everything. Came in against St Ives Roosters, who's been led by the guy called Paul Asbridge for the last few years, and he's taken Roosters up to a more professional level and a more disciplined level that they've got to, and the results have been coming. They beat Southend 80 points to 12, and then this weekend that's just gone, they beat Kings Lynn 46-40 away from home, which is a good result for St Ives Roosters. Well done to all the guys down there, Paul Ashbridge, Ian Hill, the chairman, and to Sue, the chairperson. It is a real family club. It is a massive. They're not the biggest team in the world. They don't get the biggest amount of player turnouts ever, but they do the best and what they're given. And what they're given is they do best about they've got junior teams now set up under 13s and under 17s. So any age group they can just go down, just give them a contact on their Facebook /St Ives Roosters and get involved with them. They're down in the East Anglia. The team that everybody hates, apparently. That's what they call themselves.
Is that it? Well, good results and not battling work. First bit of news I've got is the sad news that's been announced today. Steve Pickersgill has had to retire at 28.
Yes, I've just seen that. Yeah.
Neck and knee problems, and he hasn't played for the Vikings this season. And he sat down with his family, sat down with his doctors, sat down with witness, and he's had to hang the boots up. He was a proper hard player. He was an honest player as well. And 28 no age to retire, even from rugby league. So I know Dean and I want to wish him, if anyone who knows him is listening to this, all the best in his retirement. And who knows, we might see him either with a stick in his hand commentating, or coaching at Widnes, or doing something and staying in the game.
Yeah, it's I think it's always sad when somebody retires through injury, because they do everything what they can, what they love. They do everything what they want for love, and they give their heart and their soul, and they do everything they can. And at the same time, it's just all these bad things happen to them. And at some point, when the doctor says to you, "Hey, you really got to start thinking of something else, because this is not happening to you," and it's always sad, because it was up to me, everybody would play to the age of 40. 40, 45, 50, something like that. Remember the old days of Jeff Gratian? They had to cut him off the pitch after one bit. He was still going at 46 at one stage. But that was pre Super League days, that one, pre-Super League days. Yeah.
It was. No, that's a sad point, but onwards and upwards and to some positive. Yeah. I had a cracking interview today. I won't lie. I had a cracking hour today. I mean, I know Dean won't have heard of him, and a lot of people, outside of the Merseyside area won't have heard of him. But he's a guy who's presented our breakfast radio shows, Radio City and BBC Radio Merseyside for a long, long time. His name's Tony Snell, and he's just been introduced to rugby league. So I just sent out the feelers to him on Twitter last week and said, "Do you want to come and talk to me about it?" And he said, "Yep." And we sat down, had a coffee after he finished his breakfast show this morning. Had a good half-hour chat with him. I'll send it over to Dean in a bit. It's on the laptop. It's ready to SkyDrive over or put in a cloud. Or you're more technologically savvy than I am. I've only just unplugged my fax machine last week. So, but yeah, I mean, it was nice to hear how the rugby league newcomer sees the game, and he's a massive football fan, and how he sees the game, and he has a lot of positives to say about it. It's about half hour long, so I'll send it over to Dean. Dean, you do whatever you need to do with it, and we'll plug the hell out of it.
Yeah, we'll put it. Well, in fact, if we send it over, we can put it on the end of this podcast and just say this is the interview from him for today, and I'll just add it onto the end of the show, and then they've got we can do it from the start or whatever. Just put it in a bit, and I can put that in any way I want. Yeah.
Either way you want. Right, so I've laid the gauntlet down for you now. Ant's done one interview. Dean's got none in yet. But
I'm working on it.
You have an empire to run.
Yeah, I'm getting my feelers out. So I'm getting there. I'm trying to get hold of Jace. I'm trying to get hold of my mate Jason. Very, very simply, because I've got everybody knows that I used to work at Sheffield Eagles, and I used to have a great relationship with all the guys there. And the problem is now that all the guys that had a great relationship are now coaches. So you got like Darryl Powell at Castleford, you got Mark Aston at Sheffield, you've got there's Mick Cook, there's all these guys that's going around the place. Paul Broadbent still involved with the game. I think he's the national coach of Italy these days.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
And we got Jason, Jason was one of the first. He was the first Sheffield-born player to play to be signed by the Eagles in 1991 as a 17-year-old little shit. Oh, sorry, I've sworn. I went 10 minutes. He's battled his way up. He played professional for Eagles and he played for Doncaster as well. And then after his playing career came to an end with the club, he decided to go back to the amateur game. But me and him were always school's coaches. And then the merger between Eagles and Huddersfield happened, and he went to Huddersfield and decided to get trained to be. He was going to be the academy coach, and then somebody offered him saying, "How do you fancy being the fitness conditioner?" He's done that. He's taken his badges, and then when Tony Smith went from Huddersfield to Leeds, he asked Jason to go with him, and he's been there ever since. And Jason's in charge of the Rhinos. He's in charge of Leeds Carnegie Rugby Union. He's one of the best ones in the world. He's done work for England. He's done work for the Exiles. He's done everything, this kid. I'm so proud of the lad. I really is. And I'm going to try and I'm begging him again on it. I'm saying, you've got to come on my show. You really have got to come on my show. And he says, why have I got to come on your show? And I said, because literally everybody wants to talk to you. Everybody want to talk to you about the Rhinos. Everything will. So I'm putting my feelers out to him. It's just that he's got to work it round with everything this time of year being the Leeds Carnegie within the rugby league, rugby union just finishing, and he's got Rhinos, so he's just trying to get him round it. So
I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, all ribbon aside, geez, we're just starting our second show. We've got an interview in the bag. It's only going to grow.
Yeah.
As people who know Dean already know, with his wrestling shows and other shows, and with the way, I mean, from what he said to me, the way that the BWR network is going to expand. And I know Dean's an NFL fan, so I'm sure that idea's already been whirling around that Yorkshire head of his.
And it's truth, it's never has, because I don't think I'm good enough to do an NFL show. There's no way in this world I can do an NFL show for 2 hours. No.
Do you know what? We never thought we'd be able to do a rugby league show, and here we are. We're chatting. We're shooting the shit on it. Here we go. It took me 13 minutes to swear, but right, should we get down to the nitty gritty? It's been a pretty big weekend.
Yeah, right. I've got to get rid of the results. We got the results of League One in here. Sunday it was Hunslet 52, Gateshead 6, Scholars 24, Gloucestershire Old Goals 34. Oh, this is tight. Oldham 31, York 30. Ooh. And Oxford 40, South Wales 24. Nice to see the new teams of Oxford and Gloucestershire winning, and then things are all in the
just before we move on, I've heard the Gloucestershire All Golds have kind of got almost a Super League setup, haven't they?
Yeah, they really are. They're trying to get a Super League things in place and everything, but I think they're running before they're walking. To tell you the truth,
you think?
It reminds. Do you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Celtic Crusaders when they started,
but without the RFL backing.
Yeah, and trying to get up there and all this, and we're going to go here, we're going to go out. This in a few years. Brad Heppy was the coach at Gloucester, I think it was, before he's just resigned, and Steve McCormack's just taken over.
I mean that's a coup for them. I mean, definitely. I know, he took Scotland to the last 8 of the World Cup, and people go, oh, it's the Rugby League World Cup, but still Scotland weren't meant to get anywhere. They're a good little outfit.
Yeah. Results from the championship: we had Whitehaven 22 beating Swinton 18, Rochdale 12, Halifax 28. That will hurt Bobby. That will hurt Bobby Goulding big.
Yes, it will.
Leigh 50, Doncaster 20. That means Leigh have not lost a game yet. They're flying at the top of the league. Featherstone 32, Workington Town 20, Barrow Border Raiders 30. Dewsbury Rams 42, North Wales Crusaders 14, Keighley 16, and Batley 12, Sheffield Eagles 16.
Ooh, close one.
Which after the week before, when Sheffield was up 18-4 and then at half time and lost 22-36 to Featherstone, is a nice little turnaround, because I know Mark Aston was fuming last week. He was seething. And a lot of the fans let their opinions known on the Facebook page, and he made a lot of the players read it and said, look, this is what people think of you at this time. So he wasn't that happy, was Mr. Aston.
No, he wasn't.
And then we get to the Magic Weekend. And what did you think? I thought the first match between the Broncos and the Catalan Dragons was amazing. I was so peeved off that Broncos lost. They deserve the win for that one.
To sum it up, Saturday fantastic, Sunday washout.
Yeah,
I mean, fair play to Sky. The Saturday games, I was a bit upset because they put them on Freeview, all 4 games on Saturday, and I thought all 7 were on. So hands up, that was my fault. They've left the Sunday games for Sky Sports customers only, or if you can find a way to acquire them online. I don't know how you do that. But apparently you can get any sport you want online, including all the rugby league games. I don't know how you do it, honestly. I never watched the NRL live on my streaming site. Oops, sorry. But I never do. No, I'm honest. But yeah, great play by Sky and the RFL to put the Saturday games on Pick TV. And give people an extra little run. I mean, my local barber's up on Park Road, Dean's. I went up there and they've got a telly, they got Freeview in, and I said to him, I went in first thing in the morning, told him to stick them on the Saturday. They're massive Liverpool fans up there, so I said, just give it a go, see what you think. And I walked past around about 12:30, 1 o'clock during the London Catalan games, and true to his word, there it was on the telly.
Yeah.
So I popped my head in on the way back down. Well, what do you reckon? And his response was, "Fuck me, they're tough."
Do you think that putting it on a preview channel is helping the game? I think putting it on a channel like Pick TV is helping the game at any point. It's getting more people.
If they promote it, mate.
Yeah.
It was hardly promoted.
The one thing I'm going to remember about Saturday is the fact that you had Hull City in FA Cup final, and at exactly the same time, you had Hull KR versus Hull FC.
Yeah, well, we discussed this, didn't we, privately, and I turned around and said, the RFL not considering moving it? He went, no. And what was my response? Classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's classic RFL. Yeah. They've known for a few weeks. They knew
since the semi-final. They knew from that semi-final. And then all of a sudden, it's like, no, we ain't moving. No. Oh,
I mean, how hard would that have been to turn around to Witness and Salford and go, do you mind starting at 5?
Yeah, said to Hull and Hull FC, do you mind? We'll start you guys at 10:30 in the morning, finish at 12, give you guys, the people that support us, chance to get a Wembley for 5 o'clock.
Either that, chance to get back to Hull.
Yeah.
But no, just, they've got to sit there. And to be honest with you, I think, especially because Hull City Football Club went 2-0 up.
Yeah.
The thing is, the atmosphere at the big city derby dropped because they stopped. If you watch it back, and I recorded them because I've got Freeview because I'm a cheapskate. I recorded them and I've watched the whole derby back, and it starts and the atmosphere is brilliant. And as Hull City Football Club go 1 and 2-0 up, the atmosphere drops, and they've all got the radios on. And they're like, "We're going to win the FA Cup here." And then as Arsenal come back into it, the fans get more and more back into the game. And then it was like, screw it. And they got back into it. But, yeah, I mean, I've got the results up as well. What was it? London 22, Catalan 24. Widnes, the Red Volution rolls on down the table again. Widnes 30, Salford 24. And again, you've got Coup Crash coming out this week. I'm signing him.
Yeah, they got Jones Bishop from Rhinos. They've signed some other players for next season.
Shall we roll into that again down the line?
We'll get on that. We'll get the Magic Weekend out of the way because I don't want this. We don't want to get. Like we said from day one, we don't want to see this as a vendetta against any team. We're not going to do that. We're trying our best.
We just need to expand on the whole thing that Coup Crash is doing, don't we? Because so you got the big city derby. Hull KR came out 38-24, which, if you follow us on Facebook, was where I fell. So my 7-game ACCA fell in the 3rd game, which for me is quite good. Wigan 18, Leeds 14. What a game that was. As a Saints fan, as a neutral, what a game that was. And Steve-O summed it up midway through the second half of his commentary. He turned around and said, the young lads at Wigan have got no respect for the elders at Leeds. And he was spot on with it.
Yeah.
Absolutely spot on. And much as I hate to say it, Sean Wayne's building. He's building a dynasty. And I don't think it's going to be like the 80s and early 90s again. But I've got a feeling that you're not going to see Wigan win a Super League title once every 4, 5, 6 years. They're going to be in the mix more and more.
cooking up nicely for rugby league. It's getting to the stage now where you've got a Wigan lad. He's in charge of the club, and he's going to say, "I ain't leaving. I'm going to leave I'm going to leave the legacy of all legacies for this." And he's had to because he's lost all these players, and they said he can't have big signings. So he's had to promote. He thought, well, I'll see if these lads are having a go. And hey, after Saturday's game, oh dear me.
Yeah. I know. And what a smart move to send Logan Tompkins on loan.
Yeah.
What a smart move. He's not going to get games at Wigan at the moment, but he goes out on loan, and Sean Wayne's turned around and gone, prove you should be in this team. And he's turned around. What a smart move as well to turn around and say, you are not getting in the Wigan team on the back of your surname.
Yeah.
And it's smart because Logan's going to be steaming.
It's like that with the Fowles, isn't it? They've turned around and said, just because you've got a famous dad, there's no meaning so that you're going to get in this team.
Yeah, and they're going to be steaming, and they're going to want to come back and prove a point, and that's what Sean Wayne wants. Perversely, we'll run into my team in a second because I'm going to have a rant.
Yeah, all right.
So,
well, we'll get the first day of the Magic Weekend for me. I loved it. The only thing with me was you saw everybody arriving, you saw the people arriving, and the crowds building up. Great stadium to have it in. Manchester's a nice location and everything. I like it. I like it at Manchester. It's better than having it in somewhere like it was in Edinburgh or somewhere like that. Everybody was getting to Manchester, and I think rugby league. I think the Magic Weekend has got to be a permanent fixture. Don't get rid of it. Keep having it. If Manchester City don't want it, go somewhere else. Another Bolton.
For me personally, I'd send it to a smaller stadium, slightly smaller. It's not filling out 45,000. Well, send it somewhere where it will fill out.
The stadium. Oh, sorry, not the Reebok Stadium at Bolton anymore. It's the Macron Stadium. They've changed the name this year. They've changed it to the Macron Stadium. The Reebok Stadium or something like that.
I'd bring it to Anfield. That does it sound?
Yeah, Hillsborough at Sheffield, 40,000. Yeah. I'm saying that as a Wednesday fan. but
I said Anfield because you've got more corporate suites than Goodison. Much as I'd love it at Goodison, they've only got 6 corporate boxes.
You could see the way Rugby League are thinking. I mean, there's a stadium down in South Wales, Cardiff Football Stadium, and where Cardiff Blues used to play and stuff like that. Yeah. Take it there. Take it. I mean, I know for a fact from in the 90s when we played Saints in Cardiff, it was a great day. Loved it. If people went to Cardiff for the weekend, yeah, it's a Saturday night in Cardiff, not the best place. Yeah. But
the only reason I'd move it out of Manchester is because the grand final's there.
Yeah, I think they need to move.
You beat 3 big days in Manchester.
Your two big things are happening in Manchester now, and I mean, I've nothing against Manchester, and it's got nothing against the 2 big stadiums in Manchester, but we need to take it away from Manchester. I mean, the Super League final, yes, that's set in stone, Old Trafford, no question about it.
Yeah.
But we need to take it away from the Magic Weekend. I think Birmingham, Aston Villa's ground or somewhere like that. Anywhere that's got a big ground that can take about 30,000 people and just say, right, let's fill 30,000 people.
Yeah.
2 days, go from there.
To be honest with you, I mean, again, the discussion you'll hear that I had with Tony Snell today, and he mentioned the M62 corridor, and I gave him a brief education. He knew about London, and fair play. So I gave him but he didn't know the full. So I gave him a real brief description, as you'll hear in the chat we have. And he mentioned the M62 corridor, and that is something football fans call it.
Yeah.
But you know what? He's right. Why not keep the Magic Weekend in the M62 corridor? Have it at Elland Road. Like golf have the Open and have a circuit, don't they, where it goes, round 8 or 9 courses over a decade or whatever. Do the same with the Magic Weekend and turn around and go, right, Elland Road, you can have it in 2015, Anfield 2016, the Etihad 2017, let's have a think, Hillsborough 2018, then come back over our side and turn around and say somewhere like Bolton Stadium 20 and have a little pool where they have it every 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Yeah,
That's
I think
just
a
me.
lot. I think everybody says. I mean, when you're a rugby league fan, you always think. I mean, we always have his opinions, and we always say, "Oh yeah, this is better than what we can do. This better than they can. They should do it this way. They should do it this way." Blah blah blah. We're always the same. We never. Everything happens. Everything happens with rugby league fans.
I
We're
don't
all,
know about me, mate, but is the chat room quiet tonight, or?
yeah. Chat rooms. Yeah, we're all right with that. Don't worry about the chat room. There's a couple of guys in it at the moment,
Yeah,
peeps.
yeah.
So yeah, but
Right.
yeah,
So
we thank you for all the views we had on YouTube last week. That
yes.
was great.
God
Uh,
Almighty, I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't.
I didn't expect that. It was nice. The fact that a lot of people took the time out to listen to that. A lot of people that were saying this is a nice thing is different. So it's not set in stone. I mean, we've always said that this podcast, if people think it's better another time, another place, then I'm sorry, but it's going to be. I think it's going to be chooses because of all the other things I've got busy with my life.
Mate, no, that's cool. Right, should we get this over with?
Yeah.
Because I'm
Right.
stalling on the inevitable, aren't we?
Right.
Right, you do the results and I'll get angry.
Okay, right. On Sunday we had Wakefield Wildcats 12 versus 50, for Castleford for 50. So Wildcats 12, Tigers 50. We had Huddersfield Giants 54, the Bradford Bulls 16, and then we had Warrington Wolves 41, Saints 24, and even Paul Wellens did an interview which made Sky Sports News, made everywhere. Facebook blew up. And he just spoke with his heart on his sleeve, this lad, and he said it true. And if people are hurt by his opinions, they've got to respect the guy. He weren't happy.
On Saints' Facebook page, I was accused by a fan of not supporting the team because I decided, and with all honesty, after the first 20 minutes of that game, if the men in the red V couldn't be asked to turn up, why should I be asked to watch? And Paul Wellens summed it up. And I didn't watch. After the first 20 minutes, I didn't watch. I put a comment on Twitter turning around saying, are we giving Wire a 10-minute head start? No, we weren't giving Wire a 10-minute head start. There are lads in that shirt who thought, I'm going to do it now, get my rant over and done with. We won the first 8 games of the season. And those lads who were in that red V have turned around and gone, this is it, this is a piece of piss. And they've had their arses spanked. And they're having it continually spanked now because they think, because they've got the red V on, they're it. They're the bomb. They're the cream of the crop. Well, they're not, because they need to look across the Pennines at a team of old codgers at Leeds Rhinos, and what happens? You win a Super League medal, you throw it in a draw, and you go again. And these lads are turned around and think the Super League's won in 8 games. It's not. We're in May. You know, you win the Super League in frigging October. And Paul Wellens hit the nail on the head. Do you know what? I hope to God, because people are saying, oh, Nathan Brown's turning it around. I've never liked the lad. I just think he's the wrong fit for St Helens. The man who's the right fit for St Helens, he replaced in Mike Rush. Mike Rush should have kept the job and bred Kieran Cunningham how to do the job, or get Paul Anderson in from Huddersfield, because Paul Anderson's Saints through and through as well. And they didn't. They've missed the trick. And they've got a coach in Nathan Brown, and I'm going to say it, mate, he's weak. He's frigging weak. The lads went out there and put on a token show when the game was over. And I'm sorry, we're not going to win jack shit again this year. It kills me to say, will we make the Final Four? I'm going to stick with it, but we're not going to make a Super League Grand Final, because we're going to get to the Final Four and we're going to get our asses spanked again. We're going to run into a Warrington. God help us if we run into a Wigan, because those lads, they didn't care. And that's the biggest accusation I can ever throw at a rugby team. And St Helens Rugby League Football Club didn't care on Sunday afternoon. And your captain, our captain, got it the nail on the head. And there's players who sit there like Ray French, like Alec Murphy, like Tom Van Volleven, players like Bobby Goulding, like a man sat in the stands like Kieran Cunningham, who I hope, they sat and they cringed for that 17. Do you know what? I'm going to take Roby and Wellens out of it for the 15 others. Mossy Masoe thinks he's on a jolly. I'm not being funny. If he wants to be on a jolly, he can fuck off back to the NRL. Do you get what I mean? Sia Soliola, we don't know what he's doing next season. He needs to make his arse up and make his mind up now and start playing. If these Aussies want to play, they play for us, or they can go piss off back to the NRL for all I care. I'd rather have 17 men who get battered every week but die for the shirt than have 15 players who don't give a toss in the red V, and they didn't give a toss on Sunday. And that is my rant over about St Helens.
And
I'm calm now.
And in that is a fan of St Helens who loves them through and through, and if you cut him open, it would have a red V inside of him. So that shows you how much passion we've got inside of us. I watched him. I tried to watch the games as much as I could. I even bought a new telly for the weekend. Just for that alone, I just went,
you Yorkshireman as well, buying some new telly?
Yeah, I just thought, I'm having this telly. And then, worst of all, I got it all set up on Sunday. And then my friend, I play cricket Sundays. And he rang me up and he said, mate's dropped out, mate. Can you turn up and play for us? And I went, yeah. Got his arses kicked in the cricket match. But I was like, I could have been at home watching rugby now. So I was pissed off at that.
What's in colour as well?
Yeah, I've got sunburnt to help me. But looking at the whole, the Saints thing, the first loss of the season was against Wigan. That I think it was Good Friday match, the first match they lost. I don't think looking from the outside in. I'm not a Saints fan. Don't get me wrong. This isn't the St Helens Rugby League show. This is on the outside looking in. It's just that if you win all their matches in a row, then yeah, you're doing it. But then you see other teams. Leeds won 11. Leeds Centurions have won 11. It's not the same standard as Super League. Yes, we know this. Championship is a completely different level to the Super League guys. But it's like you get that complexity inside of you that says, okay, we've won 8 games. Yeah. Like, let's see what else they can throw us. And all of a sudden, Wigan went to the stadium and just completely just went, right, you think you've won 8 games in a row? You haven't played us yet. Bang. Reality check. And I think they've still got to come out of that reality check because there's a few of them that's saying, well, hold on a minute, what have we got to do? So.
Again, for me, all right, Saints aside, forgetting all that, I think this is where the flaw in the playoff system comes, daft as it sounds. Because you've got the top 8 in the playoffs, you've got this situation where technically we're in. It's May and we've already qualified for the end of the season.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You're barely halfway through the season and you've already got 4 of the 8 locked in. So, it's have they switched off? The teams switch off. The teams, after they get knocked out of the Challenge Cup, do they turn around and go, well, we're in the playoffs for the Super League round, we're in a shout for the championship. Do we just go at half board? Doesn't matter if we lose to the likes of Wigan, Warrington, Leeds, because we know we're going to snot London, we're going to snot Bradford, we're going to snot, Wakefield. There's another 6 points there, and it's enough to tide us over. But yeah, there was something about Saints on Sunday that I just didn't like, and I just feel that with a stronger coach, he wouldn't have stood for that after 10 minutes, let alone 20, let alone after 40 minutes. And I think our coach is on the pitch on Sunday in Paul Wellens. And unfortunately, there's nothing he could do about it because you had a guy who sat in the stands who, from what I can gather, but what annoyed me, mate, was me being accused of dipping out on the club. I've stuck with that club through the bad days, through the glory days, and here we are back in the lull, and I've stuck with them. And to be accused by one, from one Saints fan to another, of ragging on the club during lean times. I've paid that club enough money down the years, through season tickets and trips to Paris and trips to Catalan, and I've paid. I think I've paid and I've been going to the game long enough to earn the right to voice my opinion. And if it's a negative one, I'm not going to apologise and fall in line.
No, I just at the end of the day, think Saints fans have they've always. Saints fans deserve that top spot. Sometimes you look at the grand finals and everything that happens with them, and how many finals is it? 4, 5, 4 that they made it.
Sorry?
They haven't won it yet. Is it 4 or 5?
We've won 6.
Oh, you've gone on 6 now.
No, we've won 5 grand finals and one past. We won the last ever first past the post.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's 6 in total, but we haven't won it. We haven't won a sniff for 8 years now.
Is that acceptable for you guys?
No, we haven't come close to winning. We ran the 6 grand finals in the row, but the last 3 we were never going to win them. Saints fans knew. It's not acceptable. It's not at all. Saints should be in Challenge Cup finals. We should be in grand finals competitive, not just get to a grand final and go, oh, God, how the hell did we get here? We have done. By the time the run where we lost 5 in a row, we've took the record off Batley of losing, consecutive finals.
Yeah.
By the time we got to that 5th grand final, a lot of Saints fans were like, oh, God, I don't want to be here. We'll go, we'll go, but we know what's coming. And it was like, we sat there and you like, please let Cass in 8th fluke their way through. please let someone worse than us meet us in the final. They were like that gone. Please let them change the rules. We play Wigan and Pats in the final.
What's your opinion on the playoffs? Should it go back to have the top 5 or should it keep as the top 8?
Top 4. I wouldn't even go top 5.
I love the 5. I loved it when you had to. If you finished 5th, you had to play everybody else above you to win it. That was a thing. I always loved it when the NRL had it in the 80s and the 90s. When you had the top 5, if you finished 5th, you had to play everybody above you to win the thing. And I thought that was amazing. That was the best achievement of the lot. We've had them since '98. Wigan won the first one.
Yeah, that's it. But to be honest with you, I don't think 5th should have a shot. I don't think. To be honest with you, I mean. The one we should steal back from football first past the post, but we're not going to do that. So I'm not being funny. I think you should make more of a reward of finishing top, and turn around and go, right, if you're top, you're in the grand final. But then again, what do you do? Because you got 3 weeks off. You get cold. You go and play friendlies. You go play hit-ups. What you do. But the system we've got is the system we've got until next season. Again, we'll discuss that one another time. Because I got migraines looking at it again. I looked at it, 24 into 2 groups of 12 into 3 groups. I looked at it again.
Oh,
and no, we'll leave that. But the playoffs are what they are. They are what they are. 5 through 8 still have to go through the hard route to get there, which is fair enough. But I think in a 14-team league to finish in the bottom half of the table and still have a shot at the title is ridiculous.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people. I mean, I don't know. I don't have people thinking it, but there is this thing that there's some teams only start. They'll keep plugging away, keep chipping away, like all the way through May, June, and July. And when it gets to August, they start waking up and saying, right, these are the matches we've got to win now, so we can get into the playoffs. And then they get into the playoffs and they say, right, now it's knockout rugby, and from this on, and we're going to win this.
Yeah.
And do you think some coaches are using that as saying, right, we can use the first 10 rounds as like just getting all the cobwebs out, and then all of a sudden, I think Tony Smith uses it like that. I'm not sure, but
Tony Smith does. I mean, Leeds have used it brilliantly for years. Leeds have took advantage of it brilliantly for years, and you can't fault them for that. They have done.
Yeah. I love the game. I've loved it since I was 10, 14 years old and got dragged down to Sheffield Eagles on September 2nd. I've always loved it and I've seen it progress from I remember the end of the season, Premiership playoffs, and I remember seeing all these other great games and all the things that's happened through the years. I've seen the big Good Friday agreement when we sold the game. So we got that. But at the end of the day, you look at the game as a whole, and you got the playoffs, and you've got all these other people that surround the place, and you think to yourselves, "Wow, this is the greatest game in a lot." And we can get 70,000 people on an October evening when it always seems to piss it down with rain sometimes with that grand final.
Yeah, it does.
It always seems to be, and we've got 70,000 people, and the best of it is you've got a Saints next to a Wigan. You've got a Warrington next to a Cass. You've got all these people sitting there, all these different shirts and everything. There's no other sport to beat it. There's no other sport to beat it. I mean, I used to go watching the Great Britain games down at Wembley.
I'd always win the first test and then lose the last two.
Don't remind me.
No, heartbreak in the second test and then thumped in the third.
I've got a cracking story. When Great Britain was the Super League and we had the Australian Super League side come over in '97.
Yeah.
I got free tickets. They were giving away free tickets for Wembley. So I got two free tickets. So I paid my bus journey. Me and my nephew went from Sheffield to Wembley. Got absolutely wasted on the way down. got into Wembley, and this Aussie was sat next to me. And at the end of the match, he went, "Excuse me, mate, do you fancy swapping shirts?" And I had the ASICS British Gas, the one with that V on the front and the S.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and he had the Nike Australian Super League one. And I went, "Yeah, all right, mate, take that." So we swapped shirts. I'm going on with this Aussie shirt on. Everyone on the coach is giving me evils because I've swapped the Great Britain shirt for an Australia one. I went, "I'd do it anytime." Went back to the Sheffield Eagles Monday for work. Jason and everybody else was saying to me, "Where'd you get that?"
Yeah, you got it.
And I said, "Well, I got it at Wembley." Within 10 minutes, Jason had offered me a Great Britain under-21s tracksuit, Mizuno football boots. I got offered this, everything. It was like the most sought-after item in rugby league was the Australian Super League jersey.
God
I was swapping it for anything. It was hilarious. But
the one, I mean, segueing that, the one thing I've found that's annoying me at the moment, I've spoke to a few guys who've got online retailers and that and the other, right? Like, from getting depressed, I'm going to get excited. It's almost time for the biggest game in rugby league. It's not the big city derby. It's not Wigan Saints. It's not Sheffield Leeds or anything like that. Let's be honest. It's the Maroons against the Blues. It's state of origin time
next
again.
week.
Cannot wait. For Queensland, mate, I'm a Maroon. I'm a Maroon because of one reason. 2 words, Mal Meninga.
Yeah.
Simple as.
I might help you. Are you be able to watch it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I will watch it, mate. I will watch it in work. I will find a way. If I might get sacked now. I don't know. I will find a way.
It's as best I can remember. It's state against state. It's mate against mate. It is the pinnacle of rugby league.
New South Wales, and New South Wales are getting more and more knocked off because the commemorative shirt came out last year. Queensland is sponsored by Castlemaine Forex. Yeah. At the end of last season, they brought out commemorative tins and commemorative shirts with 8 crosses on the back. Queensland haven't lost a State of Origin series for 8 years. And think about it. I mean, terrible in British Rugby League right now. It was the streak Saints went on against Warrington when we went 27 games in a row, or 28, where Warrington just couldn't beat us. And when Warrington beat the streak, it was, you might as well have just give them a trophy then. And they felt like they won the title. If New South Wales can finally beat the streak, and, Queensland, from my sort of sources I got down under and people I've been speaking to, Mal Meninga has got them scared, mate, because are you going to be the ones? Are you going to be the team that loses the streak? But at the same time, you've got them over at New South Wales and they're like that, and they're going, are you going to be the ones to lose? Yeah. Wayne, Bennett's got them the same way. Do you want to be 9-0? Do you want to be 0-9? And you've got 2 teams who dare not lose this series again. And it happens when there are streaks in State of Origin. As streaks go on, the pressure ramps.
Yeah.
And New South Wales, 0-9. But it's unthinkable. Queensland 9-0. A chance to stick rub the head in the dirt further. You're going to see tackles. You're going to see hits. You're going to see world-class players, world-class tries, and you're going to see the reason yet again why the true heart of rugby league now is down under.
Yeah. It is a phenomenal game. I watch it all the time. I used to have bets. Even when I keep going back to the Eagles and things, but even on them days, we all got round a TV. More than likely, it was at my house because I was the only one that had Sky TV in the coaching team.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had that, and we always used to watch it. And my dad was always like, "Well, what's this one?" And he used to love the fights. My dad as soon as you saw him go at it, you're like, "Hey, Dad, watch this!" Boom, and he's going, "Whoa, they're going at it! They're going at it!" If anybody gets a free 10 minutes, go on YouTube, type in State of Origin fights. That's all you have to look. Oh. Paul Surinam fights, Ian, oh dear me, some of the Steve Roach, some of the old guys, some of the fights was just absolutely amazing.
To be honest, after you've watched Origin fights, I can't remember who Manly were playing, but I'm sure you've seen it. Where they both got sent off for fighting, and I can't remember the players, and I know it was Manly, but I don't know if it was the Queensland Cowboys. And as they're jogging off, they're eyeing each other up, and you know it's coming. And they've both been sent off, and they're looking at each other, and it's like, is the ref looking? Is the ref looking?
Yeah.
And they go again. They go again, and like they started, they get broken up. They go again, they get broken up. The ref sends them off and sends them deliberately 20 seconds apart, so they don't go again. And I think it is Queensland. If I'm wrong, someone correct me. But he slows his jog off the pitch down. You know, while the Manly lad, and he's looking over his shoulder and the eye line, and the Manly player, his jog's getting quicker and quicker and quicker. Next thing, bosh, and they go again, and the bench is clear. And mate, yeah, the Aussies know how to fight in rugby league. They really do.
Oh, it's this one. It's the pinnacles of this sport. I think we tried to recreate it with the War of the Roses, and I am going to bleed this, and I am going to stay on this because Yorkshire always won. And I remember Yorkshire was winning the War of the Roses. I can't. I remember that so well. Yes, I remember that.
I can't recall those.
I went to quite a few. There was like the late 80s, early 90s. I went to Central Park and watched Wigan, Yorkshire. It was because Darryl Powell was picked for Yorkshire with the Eagles, and he got picked for the first one. And I went to Central Park, and we won 50 points to 2. And then 2 years later, then the next year.
We just never bothered. We just thought, you put guys over in York. Well, Wigan were winning everything at the time, weren't we? So we had to give you we had to give you summit.
Yeah, but they were on both sides. You had Ellery Hanley and I think a couple others on the Yorkshire side, and then you had Andy Goodway, Dennis Bates, and everybody on the Lancashire side. So you had different. It was great. Kelvin Skerritt and all them guys, if you can remember that far back.
There's his name. My God, Kelvin Skerritt.
Do you think we should have the Roses back?
Do you know what? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, we hark back to this word, build up.
Yeah.
And if the RFL can't build up the Magic Weekend, even if they're giving 4 of the games away on free TV, they're not going to build that up. Yeah, it's one of those. Would it be good? Maybe. Is the England Exiles thing working? No. Would Lancashire, Yorkshire work? Probably. But, again, it's plugging it, it's marketing it. It's sending, like Kevin Sinfield, basically into Lancashire and going, we're going to piss all over you. And then do the same with Paul Wellens and send him into the heart of Leeds and go. It needs stuff like that. And the RFL aren't going to do it because that means getting up and working. And they've got to work then. And they don't like work at HQ.
No.
They like tinkering with the rules. They like throwing darts at the board and going, right, there's a good rule. No, it involves work, and unfortunately, the fans would love it. Fans would want it. Then the RFL would go, where will we put it in the calendar? And
do you know? This is the truth. I'm one of my old boss at Sheffield Eagles is now involved at RFL. I think he's one of the chief operating officers or something like that, or the chief exec, Ralph Rimmer.
Let's get him on. Let's find out what we're...
Do you think I should try and get hold of him? So let's try and get hold of Ralph on here.
Why the hell not? Get him on. The first question I'll ask is, right, are there any jobs going for me and Dean? Because the thing is, we're going to work.
I'll tell you straight, you will not want Ralph as a boss. I've seen him being the chief exec of Sheffield Eagles. He was in charge of Eagles when we did the merger with Huddersfield. I know Ralph very well, and I haven't spoken to Ralph in years, but I'm sure if I could get hold of him, I'll see if I can come and get him on the show. Because
I want to ask him what he does. I want to ask him what they do.
He's all right. I mean, what I see from what he does.
But I want to know what they do. What did he do up there? Did he just eat cakes all day?
I think the thing is, I remember Ralph when he was like, he was the development officer at Doncaster Rugby League, and then he took over at Sheffield. Was the development officer at Sheffield for a few years, and then all of a sudden he went from the development officer of the schools to being the chief executive of the club. And it was like, how the bleed hell did you wangle that? And this is
a 34 waist to a 46 while he stood at Huddersfield eating cake. They do.
No. Oh, but then he went to Huddersfield, the famous Shuddersfield merger, and less said about that the better, because I got a very very unsavory moment with that.
That's a late night show. That one.
Well, very simply, I had all the shirts and I threw them at the chairman. I used to have every shirt of Sheffield Eagles from '84 to 2000. And when they announced the merger, I threw them in my bag. I used to take them in for the schools and show the kids all the shirts so they could put them on and see the difference between the old 80s ones and the end of the century ones. And when they announced the merger, I had my bag on my shoulder and I just threw the bag at the chairman and I said, "Yeah, there you go. That's the history of Sheffield Eagles in that bag that you've just thrown down to Swanee." And I stormed out the room. I remember that.
Right. I've got the league tables up from Super League. If we were going to do the playoffs today,
yeah.
Right. You've got in the top 4 bracket, it'd be Leeds v Wigan and Saints v Cass. Oh, no, it wouldn't. It'd be Leeds Saints. Leeds Saints, Cass Wigan, Leeds going to the thingy.
So if you had the bottom 8, you'd have Huddersfield versus Hull KR and Widnes versus Warrington.
Losers go out.
Losers go out, and then the winners of 5 and 8 play 3 and 4.
Yeah, that's it. And then that's where
you get winners of. So literally say, then Castleford and Wigan are come into it, and then Leeds and Saints, they'd come into it at the end.
I mean, you look at it. I mean, I know I've had a rant about Saints. I'm sure the Saints fans, if they are listening, who sit there and go, "Well, we've only lost 3."
Yeah.
Yeah, but we've lost 3 of the last 5. You know, we've picked up 4 points in the last 10 when we picked up 18 out of the first 18. So, and we're out the Challenge Cup. Looking at the bottom, mate, you know what? Bradford and London are done. Unless Bradford win their appeal.
Yeah.
I think we're looking at, you know, the finally the death of London Broncos. And
which personally is a shame, but it needs if it needs to be done, it needs to be done, and they need to realize that all of a sudden now they can't keep going on as they were. But if they need to rebuild in the championship and come back stronger, so be it.
What about the Scholars?
The Scholars, they're the Broncos. It's just like they're doing their version of the Broncos because they're just plodding on as well.
No, that's what I mean. So why not just balls to it and merge the two, and have one club that no one cares about in London?
Yeah, because I'm just looking at the championship table in Championship 1. You got South Wales Scorpions at the bottom. They haven't won a game yet. They've got 1 point, and then you've got Scholars. They've won 2 games of their 8, and then you got Gateshead, Gloucestershire, Oxford, Hemel Hempstead Stags, Oldham are 3rd, York are 2nd, and Hunslet Hawks are top, and they've played 7 and 1. Well, they've played 8, won 7.
That's it. Right. How's it working? Is it straight 2 up from the championship? Or is it 1 in the grand final?
I think it's. I'm not really sure. I don't know what else happening this year.
Lee are up.
If it's straight, I think it's a grand final. I think it's the 2 that go in the grand final. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and then 1 goes up as champ 1. I mean, you look at. I mean, looking at the Kingston Press Championship, mate. Is it right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Is it 6 in the playoffs in the championship?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Oh, mate, you've got a 6 there. You've got a 6, and you've got Keighley, Whitehaven, Workington, and Batley knocking on the door as well.
Yeah.
Right now, conceivably, 12 teams. Swinton and Barrow, God love them, can't make the playoffs, I don't think. But, mate, in the championship, I think that's the division you've got to look at in rugby league.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
Yeah, looking at that, got 12 teams to lead down to Rochdale.
This week, at Sheffield, you've got Sheffield versus Lee.
Yeah, you've still got a game in hand as well.
Yeah, because our first match of the season at Oldham Stadium got rained off because of waterlogged pitch.
Yeah, it was Rochdale, wasn't it?
Yeah. They spent 3 months building up because they asked for Sheffield versus Rochdale because it's 30 years this year since the club was formed, and the first fixture was Eagles versus Rochdale, which we won 29-10. And they wanted that fixture to be the first. Built it up, and then they had the monsoon weather of all time in February in this country, and it just put the whole of Oldham Stadium underwater.
They did, yeah. I mean, looking a bit lower, going down into the National Conference Premier, you've got teams down there. Siddle and West Hull at the moment are fighting top spot in the National and Premier, in the National Conference Premier. You've got. I mean, there's a shock for me. Wigan St Jude's. Now they're one of the oldest teams who've fed Wigan Warriors for years.
Yeah.
Rock bottom of the National Conference Premier.
And I'm just looking now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Siddle at top. And
Siddle top. I mean, and then going a bit further down, you got teams here who, I mean, Saddleworth Rangers. God, come on, right, where are we off to? We're off to the Moors. Jesus, you've got proper little teams there. I mean, you got a lot of teams around the Manchester area. You got Eccles and Salford. You've got Rochdale. God love them. I mean, the teams that, unless you had a proper look on the, I mean, I'm on the BBC site as well. I don't know if you are, but you wouldn't know they were there.
I've just looked at League Two, right? I'm shocked. Yeah. Askham, one of the pinnacles of the amateur game up in Cumbria. Yeah. Askham, third from bottom of Division 2. What the heck? And you've got, look at the teams in that division. You've got Stanley Rangers, you've got Dudley Hill from Bradford, Oldham St Anne's.
You got Elland in there as well. Oh my God.
Elland and Kells. These were the backbone of every scout that ever did rugby league. Always seemed to go to these grounds and say, "This is where I'm going to pick up the next guy."
Pilkington Rex. My God, how many Saints players came from there?
Yeah, I mean, in League One, you've got like Dewsbury Celtic, Shawcross Sharks, Saddleworth, York Acorn, Milford Marlins, Mighton Warriors, Normanton Knights. Normanton, I played against Rochdale Mayfield, Alton Raiders. I've played Alton Raiders are legends, but
yeah,
it's the game. It's the amateur game. Some people, the clubs go through a transitional period. My old club at Hillsborough, we did it in the late 90s. We got a lottery grant for $750,000 and completely rebuilt this derelict athletics track and turned it into 2 rugby league pitches and had an all-weather surface and everything. And then we got accepted into the conference and we played League Two for a few years. I didn't play in the conference, unfortunately, but I was watching it every week. And Jason and all the other guys that played, and I'm going to put a few shout out Phil Hoff and Simon Lomas and all these guys. And they said the standard that they played in the Pennine League, League 4, to go from League 4 to the Pennine to the second division of this conference it's not as big as what they thought, but at the same time, it's a wake-up call to think that you can go out on the piss the night before and then turn up for the rugby league game like they used to do. And it's just I think the amateur game is thriving again. Doing it in all these players playing the games in the summer, though. Must be agony on these hard pitches.
That's it. You look at it, and then you look with envy at the NRL, and you look at the Telstra Premiership, and you think there's no promotion relegation there, and your bottom 3. Screw that. Your bottom 4: St George Illawarra, recent grand final winners; Canberra Raiders, God, legendary team; Newcastle Knights, there or thereabouts; and the Cronulla Sharks.
Yeah,
the bottom 4 in the NRL, and you think, and then you look at it, and you go, "No wonder Australia win everything." No wonder.
I love watching the Aussie game. I love it because you can never tell who's going to win that one. No way.
That's it. Coming back to our shores, we've had this week the latest chief executive of the Bradford Bulls, Robbie Hunter-Paul. Love the guy, absolute legend of the game. Is now the CEO of Bradford Bulls under their latest new ownership, and he's admitting that loan signings aren't ideal. But for you, mate, what can Bradford do? Given the situation, given their financial position, given they're all but relegated already, Robbie Paul's saying he can't do it. It's not ideal, but what more can Bradford do?
But they've just signed 2 lads that's going to Leeds next year, and Leeds have given them to Bradford from Warriors, haven't they? They've had that given to them. And they've signed Jordan Bolston and Mason Tonks until the end of the season when they'll go to the Rhinos, 19 years old. So that's it. They've got some youngsters and they've got all these things happening. But I don't get me wrong. I want them to survive. I want them there. It's not fair that Bradford Bulls, who've done so much for Super League and everything, and the build-up of Super League, turn their club around because of Super League. And where they are, it's just a travesty on everything. And it really is. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to see where they are. But
it is crazy. Funny enough, I've just had a message on my Twitter off the head coach of Burtonwood Bridge. God bless him. He said, just got in. Can't find you. God bless him. He thinks we're on digital radio at the moment. I said, we're not that good. So I've sent him the link out. He said, I'll tweet you a question in a minute. I went, go for it. But here's it. And I've sent him the link again. I said, God love him. He said, I've lost the link from last week. And I'm like, here you go. So I think they've just got it from training.
Yeah. Yes, if you listen to us, it's bwrradio.com click on there. There's 4 things on the thing. It says homepage, guest book, live shows, friends. Go on live shows. That's the one you click on. And then you've got the chat room on the left-hand side and you've กับthe player on the right-hand side. Click on the triangle at the bottom and your volume controls there. And away you go. With the state of the rugby league at the moment, you cannot the people that's going to go down. I know it's only 8 points, but where are they going to get them 8 points from? Because you look at it and you just look at Bradford, and if Huddersfield can put 54 past them, and as much as it hurts, but Wakefield are going to bleed survive again. It's crazy the fact that Wakefield are going to bleed and survive because of somebody's misfortune. And I'm not speaking that as the person that had vendetta against Wakefield Wildcats, but I just don't think that a club that doesn't invest in the stadium has been living in that place forever. Everyone else is trying to get their best sorted. I know Castleford have got a new stadium. All these new stadiums are being built. Old KR's ground looks amazing these days. I've decided what it used to look like. You've got Warrington Stadium, Widnes, all these great stadiums, and then you've got a Wakefield, Bellevue, that looks like the only thing they've done to Bellevue in the last 20 years is paint the bloody front door. And I just think that Wakefield Wildcats, you need to get that sorted. And but they keep pulling the results out of the bag, and they almost did it at the weekend on the Sun. I watched the first 25 minutes against Castleford. They looked great, Wakefield, but then Castleford just put in another gear and just off to the races they went.
I mean, I think it's one of those. Wakefield seems to survive because there's always a club more misfortunate themselves.
Yeah.
You know, they survived because Lee didn't have the facilities, or Halifax, sorry, wasn't Lee. My apologies. Halifax, the Shea wasn't ready. And, they survived because Widnes were in financial trouble. Wakefield seem to survive on the back of other people's misfortune, and they're going to survive again because London are dead in the water and Bradford are financially screwed.
Yeah. So now we've got to the end of this licensee thing. These franchise, the bidding for these franchises has gone. Has it been a success with the standard of playing? The fact that there's been no relegation from Super League for 6 years.
Yes, in a way. Catalan
Dragons.
Catalan. Let's. Do you know what? We spent the last hour, mate, ragging on rugby league. Let's spend the next portion of this show looking at the success stories. Of the game. Catalan Dragons, for a start, they got it right. It's a rugby heartland. Yes, it was a union heartland, but they got it right. They went to somewhere where they go, is the weather warm? Yes. Can we sit and drink beer? Yes. Or Van Rouge? Yes. Is there going to be rugby played live in front of me? And there you go. You do that to a Catalan man in the south of France, and he's happy.
Yeah.
He's a happy man. And he's got rugby all year round now.
Yeah.
He's got to sit in the summer and play bulls and spend time with his wife. He can go and watch rugby on Saturday.
I've got a funny story because there's a friend of mine called Ian Hill who's he's the president of St Ives Roosters. He goes to Perpignan every fortnight. And I said to him, and he said to me this weekend, and I just spoke to him and I said, "Oh, you'll be able to watch the Magic Weekend on TV this weekend. It's on Freeview." And he went, "Yeah, just smile. Look, I'm in Perpignan." I went, "What?" He says, "The one weekend I'm over there, and the Cattle and Dragons are playing in Manchester."
I'll tell you what. I bet you could go into a bar or a cafe and enjoy the game.
Oh yeah, he loves it. In fact, he said the prices were a bit expensive for the shirts and things over there. He says he really was shocked. He says, but at the same time, he says it's the perfect place to play rugby for me. He said, I love the place. I love watching them and going. It's the fans are passionate. You love them to bits. And I'm sorry if everybody thinks this show's just like a big slag off face to rugby league, because it's not. It's just that we're talking with his passion side inside of us, and we're just trying to put it all out and just saying, look, this is it. This is what we're doing. But he's exactly right. The success stories for Super League, since if you look at '96, if you go from '96 to '9 with the Super League, you look at the state of the game then, and you look at it now. The success stories, there is quite a few success stories there.
I think as well, you've got to say Widnes. They finally made it back. I mean, it was the true. It was the heartbreak. And it was you had all that. And I know I'm sounding dramatic, but I don't mean to sound dramatic. It's true, and it's my own passion coming out. And they had the heartbreak of 6 years ago where they were in, and they were told they were in, and everyone in Super League knew they were in. And then they got the rug pulled from under them at the last second because all of a sudden the hard-on had come to light, and they had their team in Wales.
Yeah.
And Widnes got the rug pulled from under them.
Well,
and then they sat and they rebuilt and they pissed the championship for the 3 years, and they did the right thing, and they went, now we've won the grand final 3 years in a row. We've won the Northern Rail Cup 2 years out of 3. Fine, if you find a reason not to let us in now, we know it's a personal vendetta. And they did the right thing. They turned around to the RFL and went, stop us. And they didn't. And they've come in, the first season they got gubbed, but they never went away.
Yeah.
Their inspectors rebuilt them. Mate, they're playing beautiful rugby league.
Yeah. Do you know the team that I felt sorry for more than anything else with all the Super League thing and ever since? In 1996, there was a team that actually got themselves sorted. There was going to be
Sheffield Eagles. I swear I'm hanging up.
I'm not. I'm not saying Eagles. What I'm saying is, what you're saying is when in '96 there were one team in the championship that was killing everybody, Keighley Cougars, and they were winning everything in sight. They recruited Darryl Powell from the Eagles. They'd recruited all these great players. They had Martin Wood playing for them. They had Nick Pinkney. They had a cracking side, and they were winning the top of the championship, and they were coming into the top division at the end of '96. And then they decided that, no, we're doing Super League, and they had the rug pulled underneath them. And I felt so sorry for people of Keighley because they sorted everything out. They completely reinvented their team. They reinvented the whole thing. It was Cougar Mania. Every thread, every week, it was fine. It was one of the best places to go to enjoy rugby league. Keighley had sorted it all out, and they was finally going to be in the big time playing Wigan, Warrington, Saints, Leeds, all these massive teams. And then somebody decided to do Super League, and they never recovered. And they never finally got into that top division ever since. And they've always been the same. And now, did you see the story this week about their coaches being banned from the stadium for 2 months?
Yeah, what was all that about?
Yeah, God knows. I really don't know. That is like, what the heck? You're abusing officials, was it? Oh, no, let me see if I can find the story.
Right. While he's doing that, I hear some music.
Yeah, whatever. You look at it and you're going, what the heck? And he just says, oh, he's been banned for like, what do you mean he's been banned? And yeah, the coach of Keighley Cougars has been banned for 2 months from the stadium. So I'm like,
he's probably said something to the ref.
Well, you've got to, if you're abusing the official, I think it is abusing the officials or something. But if you abuse officials, you can't. I mean, in rugby league, you know as much as everybody else. What if the referee says the sky is green, the sky is green. So
That's it. No, I completely agree. No, I heard something about it, but I just, again, it's one of those where you just, people don't abuse refs anymore. I mean, you've got, I mean, that's just nuts. If he's abused a ref or an official, he gets everything he deserves.
I think if you
gets absolutely everything he deserves.
I used to laugh my head off with referees. I mean, you know as much as anything with the amateur game. You could have such a laugh and such a banter with a referee. I think the best one I've ever heard was Bill Harrigan from the NRL.
Yeah.
When he was doing a thing and somebody called him a cheat and he sent him off. And he says, "What?" And the captain, somebody said, "What you sent him off for?" He says, "Oh, he was. He said me I was having a cheat. He said he called me a cheat, so I sent him off." And he says, "Well, can I say something? I think an opinion as well." And he goes, "Yeah, sure." He goes, "I think he's right." And he goes, "Right, you can join him as well." And he sends them both off. Bill Harrigan as a referee was great because he always had his hair gelled back and he always looked the part. And
oh, he did indeed. I mean,
I remember. I think we had
like that as well.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think I always remember me playing. This is a Sunday morning game. To a pit team from Doncaster playing our team, Sunday morning team, and the referee turned up was Ray Tennant, the proper professional referee Ray Tennant. We all walked on that pitch, and I am not kidding. I have never seen 26 guys shit themselves so bad in my life. The first words out of his mouth was, "You will not swear on this pitch. You do not hear me swear. You will not swear." And it was the weekend the going back rule changed from 5 yards to 10 yards. Yeah. And our captain said, "Is it all right if I ask a question, sir?" And he says, "Yes, as long as it's a good one and I find it acceptable." Yes. He went, "Are you going to make us run back 10 yards?" And he went, Are you fit enough to run back 10 yards? And every single one of us went, "No." And he goes, "Well, then we are going to go 10 yards." And we went, "Oh, God, here we go." It was the most
fit game as well.
It was the most disciplined match I have ever seen in my life. Nobody dare say a word out of place because it was Ray Tennant, the old referee, and like, whoa, what he says goes.
Mate, I mean, right, go. I mean, the refs, right? What's your view, mate, on the ref cam?
Yeah.
Right. Is it a rib? No, seriously, is it a rib? Right. The Raras have got the camera in the shirt. Right. Wayne Barnes and JP Doyle have nice little cameras embedded in the button, and it's all nice, yeah. And you can see the action that's going on, and it's in a shirt, and it's not conspicuous at all. Is it a rib? Has Stuart Cummins ribbed the boys and turned around to Alabier and to all the boys and just gone, "You're wearing headbands. You're wearing headbands with a camera on." It's got to be a rib. It's got to be. If Sky can give the technology, it's one.
I think I look at it. I remember the old scrum caps that they used to wear in the scrum. And the first time I saw it, I went, "Has he got a scrum cap on?" And then I see this little camera at the side of the head, and I'm like, he's going to wear that. You can see the referees going to each other going, "Please don't put me on TV this week. Please don't put me on TV."
It's a headband.
Yeah. Have you seen Benji Marshall's come back to rugby league this week?
Yes, Benji Marshall has come back to rugby league. Yeah. That one I didn't see coming.
No, he's gone back to St George. I've just been reading.
He's gone back to St George for the war, hasn't he? Yeah, I didn't see that coming. I really didn't.
Sorry about that. We'll go back to the referee thing. I think. I think when they start messing about with the outfits, I mean, they had like the pink ones and all this, and they're going, "Well, what the bloody hell? What are they doing? What are they doing to these referees?" And they're making them wear all these fancy outfits. And
referees should wear one kit. It's black.
Black with the white cuffs. Yep.
Yeah, I'm a traditionalist. The rest should be in black. If one of the team's away kit is black, then fine. Have an away kit. I mean, someone mentioned it to me last week, and it's an NFL almost related question. And he said, why is a sport? And I thought about this and I thought, you know what? They've got a point. In the NFL, now, correct me if I'm wrong, is it the home team that always wears white and they wear the colours away, or is it the other way around?
Yeah.
No, is it? I can't remember, but in the NFL, isn't it? One of their kits is always white, isn't it? Now, I don't know if that's the home or the away kit, mate. You'll know better than me. You're a massive Steelers fan.
What
So in the NFL,
Cowboys.
no, that's what I mean. In the NFL, isn't one team's kit always? Is it the home kit that's always white or the away?
There's every team's most of the teams' away kits are white. Sorry, but there's only one team. There's only a couple of teams that have the home kit as white, and then they change to blue for the away.
Yeah. I mean, what would you think about that in rugby league? Have almost a generic away kit?
Nah, I remember back when every away kit at one point it was white. You looked at Bradford Northern, and you had Leeds and Warrington, and had and Widnes, and had all these white teams. And I didn't like it. I like colours. I like seeing different colours, and don't get me. I like doing this different kits. I don't really agree on changing kits every bloody season, because you know as much as I do it. All the kids and everything want to wear the latest shirt, and if you've got 3-4 kids, that's 150 quid there straight away.
Now you've got the players' shirt.
Oh dear me.
I'm a fatty. People who know me and people who see me know I'm not getting in a 5XL player's shirt. I'm not. It's not happening because they say 5XL and what they mean is small. It doesn't matter what size it is, player shirt. It's small. It is sprayed on.
Yeah.
And I've seen fat fellas, God love them, like me, but round St Helens, and they've gone, I'll get players shirt, I'm right. No, you're not. No, don't. Please don't. Please. Go back to the club shop, say you've made a terrible mistake, and can I have a file in the fan shirt, please? Tell them you made a terrible mistake.
Yeah, I think when you're looking back, a player's shirt is for the players. The replica shirts are for the fans. You are not a player. It's great they can have their names and numbers put on the back now. I personally would love it to go back to 1 to 13 because, like Australia do, number 8 being the prop, you can do that there. I love that thing. Squad numbers, fair enough. It was at the time when everything was going to be squad numbers, and they are great for the time. But I like fullback 1, wingers 2, 5, all that again. Getting that back because.
Yeah. I mean, I'm great with the name and number on the shirt, but what I always do, and I do this, I haven't done it for a while, but when I did, I never got a current player's name. I always got a classic. And I've got Saint shirts dotting around with Murphy 6 on the back, Goulding 7, Joint 13.
This is another funny story at the Eagles. The woman that works in the shop, we signed Marcus Vasilakopoulos from Leeds Rhinos. You know what I'm going to go with this. And he got given the number 13. And the Eagles said you could have any name and number for 10 quid. And my mate says, I'm having Vasilakopoulos. And I went, she's going to kill you. She's going to kill you. And I says, whatever you do, don't go on a match day. Let her do it during the week so she's got time to do this shirt. And he went in and she went, yeah, what name and number are we like? And these thought everybody was asking for Aston and 7, which is easy. 5 letters, number 7, no problem. He went, Vasilakopoulos. Just as he said it, Marcus Vasilakopoulos popped his head round the corner and went, who's having my name on the back of the shirt? And he said, I am. And he goes, as soon as you had it done, mate, I'll sign it. And he goes, oh, cheers, pal. And the woman gave my mate the dirtiest look I've ever done. She goes, it's going to take me 20 bloody minutes to get this right. You realise that, don't you? And she says, what size shirt do you want? And he went, medium. And she went, impossible. It will never fit on the back of the shirt. And I went, well, can't you do it in a rainbow style? She went, do you want to do it in a rainbow? I went, no. You had to buy an extra large shirt because she couldn't fit the number. She couldn't put the name on the back of the shirt. It was hilarious. And he went, yeah, I'll sign it for you now. I couldn't believe it. We was all laughing because he said, oh, I want a medium. And you couldn't fit it. Vasilakopoulos is just such a long name. You just couldn't fit it. It's things like that. You just laugh and you think they're the great stories. It always happens, but where same old thing. It's just.
It is. I've had. Do you know what? If you go to Twitter, we've had a question off the head coach at Bridge now because he's just got in. He's missed it. About the UK having an Origin type game. I don't know if you want to go back over it again for the benefit of Lee Cunningham, head coach at Burton Bridge.
Yeah, go on.
For me, yeah, I agree. We should have an Origin type game. How we should have it, I'm not sure of the format, Lee, but it needs to be marketed to death. I mean, the first show, as I know you've listened to and said, I know you've been busy the first half of this show, first half, 3/4 of it. But, Dean and I kind of agree that the RFL need to market the hell out of it. Go on, Dean. You whip on through.
I'd like it to be a triangle, like Yorkshire, Lancashire, Cumbria. I'd love, because you've got all them lads from Cumbria, and I don't care what you say, they may play in the Championship and they may something, but you look at when they played England a couple of years back, you put a game up there and they will sell it out in a heartbeat. You put Cumbria against Yorkshire and Lancashire, you will have a sellout every single time. Doesn't matter where it is. Cumbria deserve a representative side to play against Yorkshire or Lancashire. It should have been done in the 80s. It should have been done in the 90s. For some strange reason, it's never been done. But they've got to get there. If they ever bring it back, Yorkshire, Lancashire, and Cumbria. They did the triangle origin in the Super League in the 90s with New Zealand versus New South Wales and Queensland. Why not? Why can't we just have Yorkshire, Lancashire, and Cumbria? It'd be great.
Yeah, I agree with that. What we'll do as well, for anyone who is listening who's running the rugby club, the show will be on YouTube later tonight, tomorrow.
Yeah, it'll be either on late tonight. It will definitely be on by tomorrow dinner time. Definitely.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, I don't know. I'll try and get this. We'll hook up and I'll sort out throw the interview I've got over to you. You can have a listen to it. I mean. Yeah, I mean, I'm proud of it. I'm not going to lie. I'm proud of it. It's not something I've done, much. I did a little bit, back in a past life. When we had the wrestling podcast. That was back in the day. So my old pipe bomb mates, if any of them are listening to you, know who you are. But this is something. As much as I had a blast doing that, this is again. If you listen to the first show, I'm sorry to harp on. This is something Dean and I have been talking about doing for a year. Over a year now, and this for me, not kissing Dean's ass because I don't do that. But this is my dream, and if this classes me and Dean as broadcast journalists for rugby league, then so bloody be it. I will put that on my CV all day long because I'm 2 shows in and I'm having a blast doing this.
Yeah.
And even if it's just me and you just chatting shit about rugby league and there was no one there, mate, I'd happily do this as many weeks as we can run. But as Dean said, he's working, I'm working. We're working hard at promoting it, but what the good thing I like about this at the moment, mate, it's a slow build. And
hey, I've got such. Did you hear that Featherstone Rovers have been taken over and they've been pumping millions in, and the coach coached his job?
Do you know what? I've just had a proper emotional moment then, and you just peed all over it.
Sorry, mate. I do apologise.
My God, I feel like Eddie Hemmings when he was celebrating Saints winning the title. Eddie came in and just went,
I'll vouch for that. Right, we'll go back to that now. Sorry.
No. Screw it now. The moment's gone.
No. Listen.
Screw it. The moment's gone.
Right.
Bates, our tune
this lad, and
everything. Featherstone.
Right. I'm going to say it now. This lad on the end of this headset, right? If anybody, I wanted to do this a year ago, and I for some reason it never got off the ground for me, and I've said I couldn't do it because it didn't feel right for me at that time. Now I'm glad I'm doing this because we get to talk. I get to share my comments and my things with a guy that's just more passionate about something than I am, and I can't believe it. To find someone that can talk about rugby league, and you can hear it in the guy's voice. He talked about Saints earlier on tonight. That is not just a rugby league commentator or rugby league journalist. That's a guy that pays to sit down every week, that watches St. Helens when they can, that goes to the games, spend the last fiver in his pocket on a program and a ticket to see him. He loves the club that much and everything, and to hear him pour his heart out the way he has tonight has been an honour and a privilege to hear it. I cannot believe I'm sat here and I heard all that tonight because that, mate, was banging. That was banging tonight, what you've just done tonight. And It's right. He said, if somebody wants to come in and have us, oh, there, you two are shit. Fine, let's make us shit. But at least we're doing something. At least we're doing this about rugby league. At least we're saying to them, this is the way it's going to be. But at the same time, fuck's sake, we just love rugby league. It's not a case like somebody wanted us to do a rugby union one. Fuck that. Sorry, not doing rugby union. They've got enough, and they've got enough bleeding publicity. Rugby league needs us. We need rugby league, and that's the way it's going to be.
Yeah. No, it's been a long time coming. I've had a look again this week. There's no live shows out there. Not really. There's people doing podcasts, and fair play to them. But with podcasts, as I know, and as Dean knows, from what he's done, as what I've done in my previous life on a wrestling podcast, you can pause it, you can rewind it, you can record it again, you can do overs. Yeah, we will. We will eventually find a format, where we do certain stuff, and it's not as rambling, but this is us. If you like the style we're doing, it's going all over the place, brilliant. If you want it like Sky Sports News, go watch Sky Sports News and wait for 30 seconds of rugby league. Here you're going to get 2 hours of it, or an hour and a half, 2 hours. That's what you're going to get. And the odd mention of football coming, the odd wrestling mention, the odd NFL mention, the odd whatever. But 99% of this show's about one of the greatest sports ever. Yeah. And with me and Dean have got the bloody bumps to prove it.
This has been banging inside of our heads for it. We originally we were going to call this Get 'em on Side Ref, and it just didn't happen. It just for some reason it just did not happen for me, and I just couldn't do it.
What was the other one? Phil Clark's Wig and Wank Sock.
Yeah, something like that. It was absolutely crazy names.
I like that one. that should be like an 18+ podcast where we really go to town on referees and stuff. And, we pick our favourite topless cheerleaders and things like that. Yeah, that'd just be Brian Carney for Phil Clark, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that probably is Phil Clark's wet dream, isn't it? Brian Carney with pom-pom.
If you want, yeah, I think now we can go back to it. I mean, they announced it last week that Featherstone Rovers have sacked John Baston as their coach. I don't know who their coach is now. Give me a second, I'll just have a look. But they've said they've had an investment, and they're going to be putting in millions to get Featherstone Rovers back to where they should be. Now, this ain't Salford. This is Featherstone Rovers. So, what's your thinking? Do you think somebody says it's Brian Noble took over? I'm just going to find out now. But they had this announcement that Featherstone have had this investment coming in, and they're going to invest millions into it. And what do you think? It's not like it's a Super League club. It's a Championship club.
Right. I mean, just turned around and basically said we don't really mention football that much. You look at, I think what Featherstone are trying to do, they're not modelling themselves on Salford as such. It looks to me like they're modelling it on the likes of, a club like, not a Man City, obviously, but, like a Southampton, or, where money's been put into the club to get them into the top flight, and then we'll worry about it when we get there. Maybe Southampton's the wrong example. But I think that's what the new Featherstone owners are looking at. Are they massive rugby league fans? The history. What's their background in rugby league? And more to the point, why Featherstone? Do they have an attachment to the town? Have they got a link to it? Did one of their sons play rugby there? Or is it's the cheap option?
I've just found out who's the coach. Andy Hay. Ex Sheffield Eagles, Cast Tigers, Leeds Rhinos, and Widnes Vikings forward. He's taken over as coach from John Baston. Just been looking on their website now. Andy Hay's that's another ex Sheffield Eagles player that's now in the coaching role. We're taking over the bloody world, those Eagles.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah, tell me about
it. It's the appointment, though. Yeah, they say they want to get into Super League. you half expect a mark. I mean, no disrespect to Andy Hay, solid player, solid coach. But they say this one week, and then they've got the solid coaching. So they turn around and realise we might make Super League this year. So what we'll do, we'll get Andy Hay in, and then we'll bomb money into Featherstone next year.
Yeah.
But what are they going to do then? Are they going to go down the coup crash route and just buy everyone and to hell with the salary cap?
Well, they've just announced this. This happened last Thursday. They announced dual registration with Wakefield Wildcats. Dual registration and all these things like dual registration with the clubs. You think that's fair? That's a good way, like sending your kids down from Super League to Championship, and then just send them off for the season, let them get the shit kicked out of them, and get them back to the clubs.
Yeah, no, but it's. What I mean, what you do? The point's got to come. There's a saturation point. I mean, how many players will Marvin buy? And and then so I'm not being funny. It's come to the point now. Jones, he's gone for the money. He hasn't gone to if he wanted to carry on win trophies, stay at Leeds, sign for Wigan, go to Saints, go to Warrington, go to Cass. Go join what Darryl Powell's doing. That's a proper rugby league revolution. He's changing Cass's complete outlook on rugby league, and they've gone from perennial strugglers to, my God, Cass have got a shot. Do that. Don't It looks to me like now Jones Bishop's gone for the money. Adrian Morley went. It was very telling. Adrian Morley's interview before the Salford game.
Yeah.
Morley got fed lines, I reckon, about how we're going to build this, and this is how it's going to all happen. And Adrian Morley was saying the words, but if you looked in his eyes, he didn't believe a word of what he was saying anymore.
No.
You looked at him, and that was what got it for me. And a player like Adrian Morley, for my opinion, to be disrespected. Coup Crash, has paid him a lot of money, and I don't blame him. Adrian Morley's coming to the end of his career. He's had a stellar career. He's won it all. The only thing he hasn't got in his locker is that World Cup winners medal, which unfortunately, being born in Britain, he'll never have. But he's done everything there is to do for this for British Rugby League, and for that, British Rugby League should be grateful. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer for me every day of the week. And Coup Crash has turned around and said, "Help me build Salford to be a great team." And he's fed in the lines, and he's fed in the Luke, or whatever it is, and he's turned around and he's gone, yeah, I'll buy into it, because Coup Crash is a very, very smart businessman. And he knows Adrian Morley's a man of principle. Rangi Chase has gone for the cash. I don't give a toss what anyone says. Sorry, what's his name? Richard Chase, because he's British now, isn't he? So Ricky Chase has gone for the cash. Right, let's be honest. Adrian Morley's not a mercenary. Anyone who wants to turn around and says he is, I'll stand up and argue the toss with you all day long. And he's never wore the red V as Saints. He's not a mercenary. He's a rugby league man at heart. He believed what Coup Crash wanted to do at Salford. And you saw it in his eyes, mate, on Saturday. He was saying the words. He was reading off the Salford script and the Salford mantra, but he didn't believe a word of it.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't surprise me if at the end of this season you will hear the words Adrian Morley's announced his retirement. And
Jamie Peacock's another one of the stalwarts. Jamie Peacock. He says he said on the Rugby League show he's going to go on for one more year and see how he feels. But he says he wants to carry on and just go for that one more season and see how he feels. See how he feels. That guy will never. I mean, when is this guy? I mean, he's got a head full of grey hair. He takes the ball in. I mean, he's always the first one there to run the ball in. And this lad is taking on everybody in rugby league. And he said to everybody, look, if you look after yourself, this is the way you can do things. And you've got Peacock, you've got Morley, all these guys. So think them guys are just stalwarts. You can see first class Hall of Famers all the way, but I'm a Yorkshire lad. What do I know?
Well, the thing is, and this is why we talk about stuff like this, because there are fans voicing opinions, and we're two fans, we're voicing ours. If there are people listening to it, they know where to email in now. They know the chat room's there. They know we're on Twitter at 4020 rugby, 40 the numbers, 20 the word the rugby. They know where we are. The show's building, and it will keep building.
Yeah.
And the beauty of it is, yeah, for the first few weeks, it is going to be us chatting. But what we're doing by talking about stuff like this, we're planting seeds in rugby league fans' heads.
Yeah.
We're planting seeds. We're planting ideas. We turn around tonight. I mean, as I said, Lee Cunningham's asked about, we mentioned it early in the show, but as I said, Lee's tuned in, late because of his own stuff. Yeah. But welcome, obviously tune in whenever you can. He asked us about the Origin. There's our idea. We've thrown it out there about a 3-team Origin series. Yeah. There's 6 games there. Come. The more people talk about it, and then the more people talk, the more the word gets out, and that's all you can keep saying, and that's all we can keep doing.
Yeah.
And we've got stalwarts in this game, going back to that Adrian Morley, Jamie Peacock, Paul Wellens. Warrington, you've got Ben Westwood there. Everyone forgets. Everyone thinks Ben Westwood. Ben Westwood's been around forever as well, and that's something. He's been around forever. You've got, the lads at Leeds. It's a transitional sport, and at the moment, you've got a guy at Salford, he's coming up with all these ideas. And yeah, I know we rag on the RFL, mate, and we say, just sit there and eat cakes and do whatever. But at the same time, Kukrash is walking in and thinking he can turn Rome into Paris, and it's not going to happen. He needs to sit down and go, small changes, small changes. And I'm not being funny. There's no point around and going, I'm going to try and sign Sonny Bill Williams on a $1.5 million a year contract when you can't fill your own stadium.
Yeah.
Widnes, need 5,000 to 7,000 to break even each week. So if Widnes needs that to break even each week, what the hell does Salford need?
Yeah. Somebody's saying they need about 6 to 7 days, 7,000. So,
but are they getting it? I don't think they are they?
No, I don't think they are.
Break even.
Yeah.
And they're going to breach the salary cap next year. So they survive and start next year on -4, -6, -8. What do they start the next year on? I mean, for you, I think somewhere down the line, I reckon at the end of the season might be a good idea if me and you did a State of the League show.
Yeah.
And just did a little run through the clubs and just do a little 5-10 minutes on each one. And I'm not talking just Super League. I'm talking we'll go down into the Championship, and just run through and just give a little 5 minutes on each and go. We're getting to the halfway point in the season. I mean, for you, looking at the top, we'll focus on the top 2 divisions. Is this it now? Is this the order settled, in your opinion? Do you think there's going to be any major changes, or are we going to see any clubs who are going to turn around and shake up the orders, so to speak?
I think when it gets to July, I'm going to keep my options open, but I think when it's July, we'll see everybody starting to hit the straps. The success of this year's got to be Cass, because I don't know what Darrell's done, but he must have done something that said, right, I'm going to put in this thing. He's a Cass lad. He was born about a mile away from the ground. He broke his heart at the fact that he didn't get picked for Cass when he was 17. But he's there now, and he's doing a phenomenal job. And I can't see. I'd love to see Castleford, as much as it breaks me out, because I've never been the biggest Castleford fan in the world. We've been Eagles because they screwed us a few times on the matches. But you look back at it, and he's gone in there. He did his. He's been coached at Leeds. He's coached at Union. He's coached at Featherstone, and everywhere he's been, he's turned them around. And I think Daz is doing a massive job at there. I'm pestering him to get him to come on here. I am so pestering him to get him to come on here. Definitely. But
I mean,
sorry, man. Go on. I think when you look, you see it, and oh shit. You look at all the things. I mean, with the state of the play, oh, I can't say it because there's so many good teams out there at this moment. Would you rather Saints have their blip now than have it at the end of the season? If you could think they could get to the grand final now, this has been the shake-up of all shake-ups now. Do you think this will help them for the rest of the year?
I hope so, mate. I genuinely hope so. Rugby league, as you know, 80 minutes on the pitch, it's all about momentum in the 80 minutes on the pitch, but over 27 games, it's the exact same thing. Like I said earlier, is it the shake-up we need? Yeah. Do I think we've got the coach to turn it around? No. I've had people rag on me going, "Oh, give Nathan Brown a chance. Give Nathan Brown a chance." He had a full year last year. We know, it's transitional. It's transitional. It's not transitional this year. He's brought Masoe in. He's brought Luke Walsh in. Luke Walsh has been fine. He's brought Mossy Masoe in. Mossy Masoe hasn't dug any trees up for me yet. Do you know what I mean? At the moment, did we sign him based on that performance against New Zealand?
Yeah.
Where he just played Skittles with it. Where he just played Skittles with the All Blacks. Did we? Sorry, Kiwis, wrong code. But is that what we signed him for? Because he hasn't done it in Super League yet.
No.
And he couldn't do it against Warrington. And Jesus, Warrington aren't the biggest. He can't do it against Warrington. I don't know. If you turned around and said to me, right, you're going to lose the next 3 games, but don't worry. At Old Trafford in October, you will see Paul Wellens possibly in his final game for the club raising the trophy. Yes, I will take it off you. However, if you turn around and said, the question you've asked, I don't know. Would I want another grand final heartbreak? Can we reach the grand final? Probably. Will we win it? No. No.
Right. Finish off this weekend. These are the fixtures. Right. We'll go through it. Thursday, Salford Red Devils versus Wigan.
Ooh, Wigan comfortably. Wigan plus 30. Comfortable.
Yeah. Friday. Leeds Rhinos versus Hull FC at Edinley. Ooh,
Leeds plus 6.
St Helens versus Huddersfield Giants.
Huddersfield plus 2. Much as it kills me, I think Saints slide will continue.
To be honest, Joe, I think Saints will be fine because I think Wellens is getting the fact that they've heard Wellens done this. I think that's going to have an effect. I think you're going to see a Saints side that's going to kick ass on Friday night.
Don't get me wrong, I hope so, but Paul Anderson's got the hex over us.
Yeah, Saturday. Yeah. Well, they've got the NRL Premiership as well on Friday. On Friday, they've got Canterbury versus Sydney Roosters. Oh, that's going to be a good one. Saturday, Catalan Dragons versus Bradford.
Catalan. It's at home, mate.
Yeah.
Catalan plus 12. I should be writing these down and putting my bet on. I'll have to listen back to it now, won't I, ready for the weekend?
Yeah, there's in the National Conference on the Saturday, you've got Casper, Loch Lane versus Egmont Rangers, East Leeds versus Lee Miners, Hull Dockers versus Siddle.
I know about. Yeah.
Thatto Heath versus Skirlaw. Wath Brown.
I'm going with Thatto Heath because they were the nearest amateur club to me when I was up
there. You got Wath Brown Hornets versus Wigan St Jude's, and you've also got Wigan St Patrick's versus Hunslow Warriors. And then on that day, National Conference Division 1, Dewsbury Celtic versus Normanton Knights. You've got Millen versus Milford Marlins, Myton Warriors versus Ince Rose Bridge, Alton Railers versus York Acorn, Rochdale Mayfield versus Shawcross Sharks, Saddleworth Rangers versus Eccleston Salford. That is a local derby. Get that. If you're getting good to any amateur game, go to that one. Conference 2, Askham versus Oldham St Anne's. You've got Ellen versus Stanley Rangers, Kells versus Dudley Hill, Pilkington Rex versus Ovenden, Stanley versus Cass Panthers, and Waterhead versus Lee East. And then Sunday in the Super League, you've got Hull KR versus the Broncos.
Hull KR comfortably. London should just stay. I actually reckon Hull KR will score more points than London will take fans.
Yeah. Yeah, good one.
Seriously. So 30 plus.
Yeah. Wakefield Wildcats versus Warrington Wolves.
Wire 12 plus.
Cass Tigers versus Widnes.
Do you know? I don't know.
That's a good one, isn't it?
Oh, you got me now. I was so confident with the rest. And I knew there was going to be one that you'd get me on. You've got me on it, you bugger.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Cass +4.
Yeah, I've got that Cass.
I'm going to have to listen back to this. And I will. Do you know what I will do? I'll be a man of my word. I'll put a quid acca on it. That's how tight I am. I'll put a whole £1 on it. I will listen back to it, see what my predictions are. We'll put it on the Facebook page. I'll put my bet on. I'll take a photo of the betting slip to prove I've done it.
Yeah, beat
Ant. See how we go.
There we go. We've got a little segment every week. Beat Ant at the predictions. See who wins.
All right, now, you can do it one of two ways, right? If you're listening in, throw your 7 picks on there for the week.
Yeah.
I'll do my 7 picks, but what I'll also do, I'll be a bit variant. I'll do 2 little bets each week.
Okay.
The first one will just be the 7-game acca, and the other one I'll pick the 7 same teams plus their winning margin. And we'll just see what happens. There you go. Beat Ant on that one. Right. There we go.
And Saturday in the NRL, we've got Canberra versus North Queensland at 6 in the morning. And then on the Sunday, in the Championship, we've got Sheffield Eagles versus Leigh in the top of the table clash.
Do you know what? I've got a funny feeling. It's with Sheffield at home.
So
Sheffield might beat the streak.
If Sheffield can do it, I'll be the happiest man on the planet. You wait till next week.
If Sheffield win, you need to get Paul Heyman here every week and do it and just have him saying, my client, Sheffield Eagles, broke the streak.
Yeah. I'm going to do that, yeah.
That'd be brilliant.
I will go on the Leigh fan page and I'll go, my team, Sheffield Eagles, beat the streak. Yeah. We've got Dewsbury Rams versus Halifax. Oh, I think Halifax might scrape it. Doncaster versus Rochdale. Doncaster have had a few rough results. Rochdale seem to be sorting themselves out, so that could be a cracker. Featherstone Whitehaven. I can't see past Featherstone. Keighley Barrow. You got Swinton Batley, and then you got Workington versus North Wales Crusaders. And then in Division 1, Hemel Stags versus Oxford. Gloucester Old Goals versus Oldham, and York versus Hunslet. And on the Monday morning, you've got Cronulla versus South Sydney at 10 a.m., which is live on Premier Sports, because Premier Sports have now fobbed off the Championship and just showing Aussie Rugby League. That's it.
So where's the Championship going now?
Championship is not on TV until next year. Because
that's part of the Sky Sports deal.
Yes, because Premier Sports, and this is no crap, I was all set to sign with Premier Sports this year because I wanted Championship and I wanted NRL, and I thought that's great. I can put up with that. They did a good coverage of the World Cup. I was very impressed with that. I loved the fact that every match was live on Premier Sports. Great commentary, great little setup. Then about 3-4 weeks before the start of the season, they announced that they're not covering the Championship. Championship clubs was up and over because they're saying we ain't got a TV deal for this year. The only TV deal that's in place for the Championship and Championship 1 is the playoff finals day at the end of the season. That is the only time we will see the Championship.
Sky Sports or
Sky Sports, yeah, that's
right. What an opportunity for the likes of an ITV4.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that, just for the season, and just saying, yeah, come on, we'll just show it for the season. It's a great chance, but ITV4 is so far up the rugby union at this moment. So
yeah, they are. They are indeed.
Well, anyway, I think we've covered it.
Hell of a show.
Yeah, we've done a cracking show tonight. I've loved every minute of it as usual. Thank you to this gentleman.
Everyone who's listening, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks if you're listeners on YouTube as well. Thanks very much for that. We will be back again next week at 8 p.m. Tell your friends, get everybody in. The phone line's going to be there. The Skype's going to be there. we're not gonna. We're here to have we're here to have a joke. We're here to have a laugh. We're here to hear your passion. What makes your club the best in the world? What makes your club why you love it so much? And no matter what happens, you'll still pay your money every single week to see it. And it doesn't matter if it's Wigan, it doesn't matter if it's Whitehaven, or even Gloucester. Gloucester all goals. Everybody's got a team, and everybody's got their opinion, and theirs is the best team in the world. And that's what makes this show special, because it's by fans for you guys, and that's it. There's nobody else. Thanks ever so much to this gentleman at the side of my headset. It's amazing to hear him talk, and the passion he came out with tonight just blew me away. If you want to listen to the past show, go beneath the chat room. There's the YouTube archives is there, and if you look at the bottom, you'll see a rugby league ball that says the 4020 Rugby League Show. Click on that, and you can listen to the first episode right there. But this tonight's show will be on YouTube in the next 24 hours. That is our promise.
Fantastic.
But have you got anything else?
My friend.
Anything to finish
with?
No,
mate. Been a blast as always. No, I can't be asked for the crybaby of the week, because all our rugby players are so hard. They just,
yeah,
they've done it again from amateur to pro. And no, one last thing I do want to add. Right, I'm not going to go into personal details, but if you're a parent listening, for God's sake, do not put any pressure on your kids while they're playing. Right, let them bloody enjoy it. If they knock on, if they slip, if they get tackled just before the line, even if they miss a kick from under the sticks to win the match, don't give them any hassle, don't give them any grief. It'll put them off for life. All right? If you're a parent on the line, be actively encouraging, because there's always another game and there'll always be that opportunity. Don't rag on them, because the kids are having fun. Yeah. Seriously. So yeah, if you're parents out there, make sure your kids enjoy the game. Don't live your life through them. Enjoy it.
Yeah, enjoy and if you like what you hear, tell everybody about us. Come and join us on Tuesday nights. We'll have the podcast going. And also tomorrow night on this station we have the Takeover Wrestling Radio Show with Ross and Webby, and then on Friday I'm back with British Wrestling Radio on Friday night at 8 o'clock, because we're doing an early one this week, because Nixie's gone to China, so I'm on my own. So I'm going to get a guest in.
To China?
Yeah, she's going to China for 2 weeks.
As you do.
Yeah, as you do. But anyway, thanks, mate. Thanks everything, and I'll speak to you next week, Cole. All right, take care, guys. Thanks a lot. Good night.
Right, good morning. I'm Ant, part of the 4020 Rugby Show, and I'm sat here. If you're from the Northwest, you will be familiar with the voice next to me. He's dominated breakfast radio for many a year.
And you sound really old, you sound like some old folk with that, which you would be right.
The voice you just heard is Liverpool broadcast legend Tony Snell. If you're from Yorkshire, you won't know who this man is, but by the end of it you will do. He's basically made sure most of Liverpool have woken up, got to school, got to work for the best part of many a year. Now, like me, he's a massive Everton fan. He's a good lad, but he's finally dipped his toe into our world over at the 13-a-side code, the Rugby League. So Tony, good morning, and thanks for inviting me. Let's start from the beginning. You're a massive football fan. You say yourself you still play football.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm still playing for me sins and still feeling the pain. The rugby, I mean, I'm a sports fan.
Yeah.
Live sport. I love live sport. I'll watch whatever. Some of the crazy things Sky put on. Speedway. I know nothing about Speedway, but I watch it.
Yeah.
But a mate of mine, where it started for me, I only went to my first game a couple of weeks ago now, and it was Warrington, and a lad I worked with is a massive Saints fan.
Yeah.
And he was devastated that I'd chosen my first game to go to Warrington, and the reason why I went was a good mate of mine. I've known him. We played football together since we were kids. He's a Liverpool fan, and he's kind of fallen out of love with football.
Yeah.
But he's jumped on the rugby bandwagon over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
To which I said to him, how come you're so passionate about rugby league, if you've only been into it for a couple of years? Oh, well, I am, and he's got all the gear. Yeah. He's one of them. he's got all the gear, and I love him. He's my mate. But I find it difficult to understand that someone's only been into a particular sport for 10 minutes and can be so passionate about it. I may be wrong. So anyway, I mean, that's by the by. And he asked me to come along to to the stadium. What's it called now? The Halliwell.
HJ, yeah, Halliwell Jones.
Sorry.
No, you're all right.
And he said, yeah, well, we meet and we have a few beers, and my missus is coming, my son's coming, and whatever, So it was a real kind of family thing. So we met and had a few beers, and then more fans came in, and it was like a little family thing. It was like a little club, and it was good, mainly because there was beer involved to begin with. And it kind of went from there, really. We made our way to the stadium, and that's where it all started.
I mean, as you picked up on, I mean, something I noticed a lot when I first started going live was the family atmosphere. And I remember my first game at St Helens when I went, and having gone to football games, instinctively I just swore at the ref and got told off for it. And with regards to that, what you're saying about the family atmosphere, would you reckon it's more family orientated now than football is or other sports?
Oh, most definitely, yeah. I mean, most definitely. It was a real mix of women, fellas, husbands, wives, girlfriends, kids. And one thing that did strike me was we were standing up, and I'd never stood up. I mean, I did do it in the 80s, obviously pre-Hillsborough, and we'd stood up at the rugby. And I enjoyed it. You're really close to the game. And of course, my mate is explaining to me what's going on. I've got the basic grasp of it, knock on, etc., and offsides and stuff.
It's all right, I won't test you.
Yeah, please don't. So he's explaining to me what's going on, and it was really enjoyable. But the one thing that struck me more than anything else was the game goes on. I mean, in football. We could talk all day about, players falling over and needing treatment for 20 minutes, just because they've broken a nail or whatever.
We do have a crybaby of the week.
Exactly. Oh, do you?
Yeah, we do.
What, in rugby?
No, on our show. We have a crybaby of the week, and last week it was Ronaldo. The week it was Ronaldo.
Oh, mate. Well, many.
Do you know what I mean? We normally pick out football.
You've got a lifetime of crybabies when it comes to football, but sadly that's become part of the game. So it was the game that just carried on. There was very few stopping points because the game just continued and continued, and I found that really refreshing, because you weren't standing there or sitting there as you do Premier League football, but standing there thinking, oh, come on, get on with the game, and it was a flow to the game, and that was refreshing to watch. Was
it a televised game you were at? Or?
It was, it was on Sky.
So I mean, obviously you've seen now situations where it goes to the video ref. Now with that, I mean, a lot of seasoned rugby league fans now have the feeling that when they're on telly, the referee suddenly has forgotten all sense of how to referee a game, especially when it comes to those situations. And because he's got the cameras and the facilities to use,
he's got one on his head as well.
He has. I mean, we think that looks ridiculous because, like, as you've seen, Sky, the Raras, the rugby union guys, their cameras are built into the shirt. So the rugby league lads should have that. They just look like tennis players. But going back to my question, with the screen there in the video ref, did you feel that added more excitement to the game for you, or was it a bit of tension, or were you sat there thinking,
No, because it's very razzmatazz. I found it to be razzmatazz. When there was a try, the cheerleaders came on and did a few pom-pom stuff. I could probably leave that to one side. I don't think that's for everyone. A bit of a traditionalist, but with the video screen, I mean, it all happens so fast anyway, and it's difficult to come up with a decision. But the razzmatazz side of it, they'll play a little bit of music. I think it was the good, the bad and the ugly or whatever, while we were waiting for the decision, and it comes up, no try, and it's a little bit of that. For me, it kind of takes away the debate from the game, where you're walking on with your mate saying it was a try. No, it wasn't. Of course it was. No, it wasn't. It kind of takes that debate away. And we've had that debate gone now in football with the goal line technology. But as far as the atmosphere goes, we create atmosphere. I could have a pint. I could stand there and have a pint and watch the game, and that was great. And what I did like as well was at the end of the game, the players would actually come round the side of the pitch and they would clap the supporters. This wasn't the end of season. They hadn't won a trophy. Apparently they do this every time. And I thought, well, that's I like that. There's not that huge gulf between the spectator and the player. You could probably have a chat with one of the players at half time or whatever at the end of the game, which you never get that in Premier League football. So there's that adds to the connection between the fans and the team, I should imagine.
going back then to when you were younger than that, I mean, obviously with your work on the BBC, there's that link. BBC showing the Challenge Cup final, and the way they used to do it was how they did the FA Cup final. They would spend all day on it, and now it's got shorter and shorter, and now programme starts at 2:30, finishes at 5:45, like 5 minutes after the trophy's been presented. Did you ever watch anything like that when you were younger, or was it just something that was, if it was on the telly, you'd watch it?
From the rugby or the football side of it?
From the rugby side.
You were always aware of it. I mean, I'm probably going to step on a few toes here, because growing up in the middle of Anfield, you're a Dingle lad, I'm an Anfield lad, we probably had a similar upbringing, There was one teacher that came to our school. You played rugby in your school, as you explained to me before we went on air. But there was one teacher that came to our school. He was from Wigan, and his name was Jimmy Atkinson, and he was a big lad. And we used to call him the Woollyback, because obviously he was, he wasn't from the area. And he introduced rugby to these snot-nosed kids in the middle of Anfield. And it was a take no prisoners job, it really was, and he knocked all the kids out the way, and of course we saw this as a great opportunity to get stuck into the teacher, but we just bounced off him, So there was a little bit of that. So that was my first experience of rugby. But to get back to your point of did I watch it? Not really. If it was on, I'd watch it. But to me, it was rugby. Now I didn't know whether it was union or whether it was league or what the differences were. The only difference I knew was sometimes the ball goes out, then they throw it up in the air, they lift a player up to try and catch it by his short. I went, is that not happening in league? So there was a little element to that, but never the twain shall meet apparently, isn't it?
That's it. They tried it a few times, and it never. Normally, when league played union, the league team would win by a comfortable margin, then the union team would win their version by a and it just never worked. So when you said your friend was explaining how the game went, so did you find it easy to follow? Was it?
I did actually, it was the certain amount of tackles or whatever, and then knock on and stuff like that. I did shout handball at one stage. Somebody took the piss out of me. Thank God, I'm new. So the explanation of the game, it's quite a simple. Well, it's a simple game made complicated by players, isn't it?
Yeah,
really,
I mean, what's the old phrase? It's a game for thugs played by gentlemen. But it's. I mean, you said about the whole atmosphere, and going to it. I mean, again, compare the crowds to football if you want. I mean, how would you find the difference?
Well, there was 8,000 there.
Yeah.
I'm a season ticket holder at Goodison, and you can have 39,000 at Goodison Park, and there'll be no atmosphere. We get away fans saying, "Is this the library? Is this the library?" And they've got a fair point, because a lot of the time, not all the time, but a lot of the times through the season, you'll have a capacity crowd at Goodison Park, and you can hear a pin drop. So it's what you make. It's the atmosphere. There was only 8,000 at the Halliwell Jones. But it was on Sky, so probably a lot of people, and it was on Friday night or whatever. But it was, for the people who were there, it was a good atmosphere. But my mate and his missus was saying, it's normally a better atmosphere than this. And they're trying to sell it to me. I'm thinking, this is great anyway. I had my two lads with me. One of them, my eldest lad wasn't fussed. My youngest lad loved it, absolutely loved it. He went down and sat right at the side, So, as I say, it's a case of how much it's going to bite, because I'll watch it. I mean, I watched the Magic Weekend, a couple of the games in the Magic Weekend. Now, I would have given that a miss before now, but I'll look for it in future. I'll see who's playing who and go, well, that's going to be a good game. I'll give that a little go. But it's who to support, you see, because.
Well, I can help you out with that. It's quite simple.
well, you see, my missus is from Runcorn, so I live in Runcorn. So really, see, the business is like 3/4 of a mile from where I live. That is. St Helens is Merseyside.
Yeah.
So you're kind of torn.
That's it. And then you've got the twist then of whether you can tolerate wearing a bit of red in your shirt.
I did come across that.
Well, however, the away shirt's blue.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, in that case, you just made me mind up.
See, that's
You've
the
made
thing.
me mind up.
I mean, despite the fact that I've got a red Saints hoodie on this morning, there's a t-shirt on underneath it.
It's not. It's not red. It's
not red.
It's not fair red.
No.
It's one of those. But I was winding my mates up because I sent him a couple of texts over the weekend, and I said, not sure who to support this weekend. I know you took me to Warrington, but I quite fancy Saints because they're from Merseyside, of course. Keep winding them up, but it's all about the banter.
It is. I mean, what a lot of us find as well. I mean, I've got mates who are football fans, and they turn around. They said the respect thing. I mean, again, you'll have seen that at the weekend. How Yeah, again, you'll hear on the live show tonight because I'm going to have a pop at rest tonight again for the change. But
rugby refs.
Rugby refs. Okay. I mean, yeah, we don't touch the football refs because we know they're just pandered.
So what do the rugby refs do that get up your nose? Because I mean, I've been told and conditioned over the years that nobody argues with the ref in rugby. No. The ref is always right.
Yeah,
is that the case?
I mean, what it is, a lot of rugby refs are former players,
right.
So they know all the tricks. They know every little scam that a player's going to make. They're going to. I mean, a lot of it now with the referees for me, like I was saying about the video refs, that's always been my thing. The video refs are only on the live games, and they don't have them any other time. So it's their own judgment.
Oh, right. So I thought that was at every game.
No, it's not every game. They experimented it, but the cost.
Right.
But it was, normally decisions they have to make off their own bat, or But like you said, there is the razzmatazz and the thingy to all that. And with you saying that about the debate, there is still some. I mean, years ago when Sky first took it over, one of the commentators, Mike Stevenson, there was a rumour he was the video ref because for the first 2 seasons he never got a decision wrong.
Right.
And he doesn't like Saints either, so.
But so the bitterness runs through rugby as well as football.
Oh yes, most definitely. Yeah. But I mean, with regards to the ref, I mean, when the ref was making his decisions, did you notice the difference of how the players respond to the referee, especially, during contentious decisions, anything like that? Did you notice a difference to how the players reacted?
I think, as I mentioned before, for me, I mean, just to use the comparison with Premier League football or football in general, I mean, if I was a ref, I mean, I wouldn't have. There's not enough red cards in my pocket, They'd be off this argy-bargy in the box for corners and whatever, and the refs just get effing and jeffing right up in their faces. And, this is in the workplace. Yeah. You don't get it, this shouldn't be happening. Yeah. It does, but it shouldn't be happening. But it was the flow. I mean, the game just seemed to keep going. Whatever the ref said just seemed to be, get on with it, lad, and that was it. You got on with it, and even the crowd. Yeah. There's a lad standing behind me. Get off him! Tell him to get off him, ref! Get off him! He was grinding his face into the ground, but just get up, knock the ball back, and away you go again. So it seemed to me that the refs seemed to be just moving the game on and getting on with the game. It seemed to be, but I mean, I didn't see any players coming up to the ref effing and jeffing and telling them where to go. I didn't see any of that. I may have missed it because I'm new to the game. And, you'll, as a fan, you'll be looking for things that I'd miss. So maybe there was an element of that.
I mean, you've probably noticed as well then during the live game, especially with play going on, injuries and things like that. Is there anything from what you've seen in rugby league that other sports, especially Premier League football, could take? I mean, I know football's took a lot already, but I mean, someone mentioned that the other week about the playing on when players are down. Yeah. There's the stuff. What would you reckon from what you've seen so far that you might have thought while you're watching the game, football could do with that?
Well, definitely, just keeping it moving. I mean, I think the trainer came on or somebody came on with water or whatever. Someone was being treated and the game was going on around them. I mean, obviously, if it's a head injury, kick the ball out. Yeah. But there's a lot of play acting that goes on within football. There's a lot of gamesmanship that goes on. I mean, I was always taught as a kid, don't give the ball away, don't give the ball away. Yeah. I'm not one of these people who can kick the ball out and then throw it back to the opposition. Terrible like that. You know what I mean? But I think just keeping the game moving. And I mean, I'm watching these tackles flying in. At the Halliwell the other week, and I'm wincing as they're going in. Yeah. Now everyone around me, that's normal. It's part of the game. But for me, as a namby-pamby Premier League football watcher, I'm like, ooh, he's not getting up from that, and he did. Surprisingly enough, he did.
I mean, it is the wear and tear. I mean, I heard the comparison. Apparently, it's compared to the comparison to two cars hitting each other at 25 miles an hour.
Oh, yeah.
The impact and
I can well believe it.
Yeah.
But how do they survive it? How do you get up after that?
I think it's the training. I mean, they work a lot harder than they used to. I mean, the whole beer and beers before, during, and after the game philosophy, that's completely gone now.
I think there's a respect. Yeah. As there seemed to be respect for each other when they were playing, because of course this is your job, this is your livelihood. You're not going to go in and high tackle someone around the neck or whatever. I know it goes on, and obviously we've seen ugly scenes, but it's a respect from both sets of players really, and that seemed to come over a little bit. I mean, how they walked off the pitch, I don't know, but as I say, I'm a namby-pamby Premier League football watcher.
I mean, is it something you go to again?
Yeah, I would actually.
Definitely.
Yeah, right. I would. I'd probably go to I'd probably go to a Saints Warrington game rather than a Warrington Catalan Dragons game or whatever, you know, because from what I didn't know, but from what people told me.
Well, Saints have got Widnes in a couple of weeks, so if you fancy going to that, we'll head down.
Little one of them, yeah.
But again, right, the next bit, I'd have to ask again, comparing a lot prices. I mean, if I said to you for a Saints game, they have you can have sit in the main stand in the comfiest seats, 3-course meal before the game, and drinks in the players' bar afterwards, cash bar, and it'd be 65 quid.
Oh, that's not bad.
Do you know what I mean?
That's not bad at all. Well, I went on my mate took me.
Yeah.
So I said, how much am I owing for the ticket? Don't worry about it. How much do I owe for it? Don't worry about it. So he didn't tell me how much it was, but he told me how much his season ticket was. Yeah. It was a couple of £100.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm thinking, you know, if you want to go and watch Arsenal, you know, you're £65 a game, and that's the shitty seats.
Yeah,
you know,
that's it.
I mean, for me and me two lads, our season tickets just under £1,000.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
It is.
But compared to other football clubs, if I was a Liverpool fan, you're looking at 1,700-1,800 quid for that.
You know.
And it's just crazy money, you know. And the kids want a cup of tea and hot dog, you know, £5. Come on, you know, it is expensive. But I don't know what I'd do with my Saturday afternoons, knowing that my mates were going to the match and I wasn't going. So it kind of captures you in that way. But to get back to your question, value for money, I think it's brilliant value for money. I really do.
I mean, I don't know what time you got there, but with a lot of the games in rugby league as well, you get the under-21s or the academy game before it as well for the same ticket. So if you get there, if you got there early enough, say if
and the away games as well, you get your away games for
some Warrington games, the Warrington do that a lot.
You can't argue with that, can you?
That's it. I mean, as I said, I know Saints, if they're kicking off, say, Sunday at 3 o'clock, if you get there for one, you get the academy game first. And for 18 quid for an adult, 12 quid for or 10 quid for a kid.
Yeah, but you go through that. If you've got 2 or 3 kids, you go through that in McDonald's in an hour.
Yeah,
you know,
that's it.
so, you know, what do you want? I mean, the worrying thing for me, well, not worrying, but just noticing if Sky ever pulled out and the money that Sky bring to the game, I suppose that would affect, you know, the game to a certain degree. I mean, it's always been there, you know, Sky, because a lot of people think Sky invented sport. Sky invented all sports, you know, of course. But how would it affect the game? Do they put a lot of money into it? You know, are they dependent on the Sky money?
It's and no. I mean, obviously, compared to football, it's not as much. I think it's 97 million over the next 3 years, which compared to football, they're getting billions, you know. But a lot of the clubs, I mean, there's a salary cap in rugby league now as well. I mean, there's the fellow who runs Salford Red Devils, Marvin Kukrash. He's just blazing through it. He's just gone to hell with it. He's wanting these stuff like, you know, like not academy players, like one megastar player where you can beat the salary cap, you know, things
that's
like
the
that.
thin end of the wedge, though, then, isn't it? You know.
But I mean, at the moment, you know, the Sky money's helping. But you've got a team like Bradford Bulls, the 5 times Super League champions in the modern era, one of the staple clubs, and they're back in administration again.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? You know, it's like Widnes. I was talking to somebody not so long ago, and they reckon they need 5,000 at each game to break even. Yeah. They need at least 5,000 to break even. Now, I don't know what the average gates are.
Yeah, it's about between 5 and 7.
So really, you're not making mega money there.
No, and football doesn't have the salary cap, but I mean, with rugby league, the idea is that half your income goes on your wages. Right. So, I mean, in football, I mean, how many clubs would go under with that? You look at the Premier League, all 20 probably.
Well, it just eats itself in the end, doesn't it? You know, it's the thin end of the wedge.
They're trying to compete, you know. But I mean, it's trying to be more a summer market. That's why they moved to summer, to give football fans something else to watch. Because Sky weren't covering cricket that much during the one days. They weren't really doing. But like you said, even with Sky having the rugby league on, it was not really the first thing you'd switch on a Friday evening. No. Do you know what I mean? You crack a beer open, you go. You'd move over if the rugby was on. But I mean, with you saying, you know, you said you've gone and you said you obviously enjoyed it. We mentioned before we hit the record button on this, the coverage has gone as well. I mean, working for the BBC and the radio, the coverage has been swallowed up.
I mean, we used to, and this just isn't BBC Radio Merseyside, this is, it was a thing called DFQ, which was delivering quality first. Now, BBC is funded by the licence fee payer, me, you, everybody, you know. So of course, what do you do when everybody's got lots of different ideas about the licence fee? I mean, I might hate rugby and say, well, why is my licence fee going on a rugby programme? Or you might, you know, get someone who say, I can't stand football. Why are you spending this money on football commentaries? So it's trying to please all of the people all of the time. But it's delivering quality first, value for money for the licence fee. And like everywhere, cuts are being made. So we lost evening programmes, and our evening programmes, Monday to Friday, covered the likes of local school sports, rugby league, lots of other kind of different sports through that week. And once they went, the coverage of the rugby league went down. You know, it's just a fact.
So I just remembered then you had one of my old teachers at Liverpool College do the rugby union, Ron Roby.
Oh, I was talking to Ron yesterday. Yeah, he's a cracking lad, Ron. I don't see Ron very often now, but I was talking to him.
But he used to cover the rugby union for
Ron Roby,
Merseyside,
Ron Roby, and you know, got Steve Roberts, Rocky Roberts. You know, got all of this crowd in there. But you see, if it's your passion, if that's your passion, and that's your sport, you know, where do you go for it? And I think probably the future is going to be the likes of what you lads are doing as well. Online, Twitter, Facebook, social media, podcasts, all that kind of stuff. You know, I mean, that's the way. But by fans, for fans, by fans, people who know what they're talking about. Now, you might be listening to our conversation, you know, we've been having a chat for 20 odd minutes now, and if you're a rugby fan, you might be listening, who's this dickhead? He doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, you'd probably be right, but how are you going to get new fans? How are you going to get people like me? Now, I would never say I'm a passionate rugby league fan, because I think that needs to come from your family history. I think it needs to come from your culture. You know, like my mate, who I said I love him dearly, but he's been a rugby league fan for 10 minutes, but you'd think he was a rugby league fan forever, and mate, you weren't. You know, you were a football fan. You were standing on the Kop a few years ago, but now you've moved over to rugby league, which is fine. But don't pass yourself over as, like, you know, the king of rugby league, because you've been on the bus for 10 minutes. You know, I hope he's not listening to this.
We'll find him, so he does. I mean, so you said it is something you go to again. Would it be a regular thing for you, do you think, or would it be more?
I think so. Do you know? I think I'm going to take my littlest lad. My eldest lad wasn't really that keen. You know, so I was interested. Well, my eldest lad's 14, and my youngest lad's 11. But he quite liked it. You know, he quite liked. He liked the noise, and he liked the glitz and the video screen and the players being up close to the players and stuff. He likes that. So I'll probably go with him again.
What if he said he wanted to don his own kit and play for the team?
Mate, honestly, he's like a matchstick. He just gets smashed everywhere.
Or he might make a decent little scrum half.
He might do, actually, He's a tough little nut, I mean, go for it.
I mean, if you look at Rob Burrow at Leeds, I mean, you look at the size of him, he's about 4 foot not and dripping wet. But as much as I hate to say it, being a Saints fan, he's one of the best scrum halves I've ever seen. You know, when he's come down. I mean, Bobby Gordon, who was a legendary Saints scrum half, he was about 5 foot not. You know, most of the best scrum halves are, you know, to look at them, you wouldn't think, I mean, me being a big second rower, I'd be like, I've got you. And then, by the time, they've run past you and they're like, you know, what happened there? But I mean, if he came over and went, Dad, I want to give this a go. I mean, as you said, you know, the area you live in, the Runcorn area, and there's plenty of clubs around there for.
Well, there is, you know. I mean, I'd take him to a couple, actually. I'd probably take him over to Widnes. That's on the doorstep.
Yeah, of course.
Probably go over to Saints, you know, and do it that way, and just let him pick. But the thing is, he's watching sport. It's part of our heritage. It's part of our culture, you know. And long may it rain. You know, I mean, there's this thing that they talk about, the M62 corridor. With the rugby league teams.
That is right.
And the rest of the country. All right, you've got the is it the London Broncos? London Broncos.
We've discussed.
I mean, are they just thrown into the mix by Sky just for the sake of it? Are they?
Right. Just to do it briefly, again, to introduce you to it more than. It was done 30 years ago by the Rugby League to introduce, because there was a north-south divide. Rugby Union League was played in the north, Rugby Union was played in the south. So Rugby League just kind of threw the first salvo and went, well, we're going to stick a Rugby League club in London. And it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. They kept changing the rules. I mean, they played at Stamford Bridge. They played at Craven Cottage, played in Brentford, Harlequins ground. You know, they've gone all over the place. They've had many name changes.
If it's not going to bite, they're not going to bite.
It's not bitten. I mean, they even tried an experiment where they changed the name to London Harlequins Rugby League to fit in with the Union team. So they had a double header where you had the Harlequins Rugby Union played first, and then the Rugby League played second. So 9,000, 10,000 Union fans turned up, and they were said to stick around for the league game, and they must have all just turned into seats. So there is that. I mean, rugby league's always trying to expand its horizons, but we've always felt stick to what you know.
Yeah.
And like you said, there is that M62 corridor. The game's heartlands are, Merseyside, Lancashire, Yorkshire, and Cumbria. And we should stick. We said it on the show 2 weeks ago. We'll probably bang through it again tonight. Stick with what you know. Catalan works because if there's a game of rugby going on, they will go and watch it.
Yeah, well, you got to have the passion for it. Well, you can't manufacture a passion for any sport.
That's it.
You can't. You just can't do that. That's never going to work. It starts to look a bit desperate then after that, doesn't it? It starts to look a bit
London,
silly.
they don't want to know.
It's like the American football and the baseball, and they've tried to introduce basketball. It's going to have its niche fans, but really, if it's going to bite, it'll bite, and you can keep trying and keep trying and keep trying, but.
I mean, that's it. I mean, you've experienced it once, and you said when you go to witness, you'll experience the same thing. St Helens, you will do as well. The fan base, it is a different fan base to football, or a lot of the fans you get with rugby league don't bother with pretty much any other sports. I've noticed.
Oh right, it's interesting.
Yeah, they will just sit there and it's rugby league and. No, there's nothing.
Well, I went out with a girl from Widnes for about 5 or 6 years, and
hope your wife's not listening to this.
Well, they were before I met her, so I think we're all right. And our fella played for Wigan.
Yeah.
He was a Widnes lad, but he played for Wigan, and played in a couple of cup finals in the 60s and early 70s, I think, or whenever it was. And I spent a little bit of time up in Widnes, and of course, coming from Anfield, it was like the other side of the world. There was no football pitches. No. And I'm driving around going, where's all the football pitches? There was no football pitches, so it was all rugby pitches, and of course, it's a town like Warrington, like Leeds to a certain degree as well, they're proud of their heritage, and if your heritage is rugby, that's what it is, and fine, go for it.
What kind of dad, if your lad does decide to take it up, what kind of touchline dad do you reckon you're going to be?
Well, he plays in a football team now, and one thing that gets me is, and it saddens me really, is the behaviour of parents, not all parents, but the behaviour of parents on the line, having a go with the ref. I mean, some of these refs, there's no wonder you can't get lads to referee a game or girls to referee a game. Because you've got lads who are 16, 17 and they're doing it for 10 quid, 15 quid, and they're getting all kinds of dog's abuse from parents on the line. Parents who are trying to play their game through their 9, 10, 11-year-old kids, shouting at the kids, do this, do that. You've got the manager shouting at the kids, you've got the parents, the kid doesn't know what to do. The kid's looking left and right, what do you do? So I tend to take a bit of a back seat when it comes to watching the sport, rather than being pushy. And if something goes wrong, of course, you put them right, but I'm not a very vocal kind of parent on the line when it comes to that, because I've had that myself when I was a kid, and parents fighting on the line. Come on, it's ridiculous. It's crazy.
I know you've got to get back to work and stuff in a minute. So, what's your Twitter feed so we can get you?
My Twitter feed is at Snelly Radio.
Right.
So if you tweet your podcast, I'll retweet it and I'll have a little listen back.
Fantastic.
To it. And do what most people do. Doesn't sound like me, that.
It's always the way, isn't it? Do you know what? I've had a blast. I mean, you're someone I've grown up listening to. And sit down and ask you the questions, and then you ask me a few as well. I noticed that.
I went into interview mode there as well.
I mean, it must be tough, but no, I've appreciated it. So hope you'd enjoyed this. Any questions, I'll pass them on to him, and I'll make sure we get Snelly up to Langtree Park. Yeah, so thanks very much.
Langtree Park, Widnes, Warrington, anywhere like that. If there's a free ticket going, I will be there. I've got a collection of scarves and shirts. So. No, it's great. Good to meet you. And
yeah,
good luck
thanks
with the
very
show
much.
as well.
Thank you.